One of the knights bursts into the room and asks if a man with silver hair, about 20 years old, and a woman with brown hair and green eyes have appeared there. He puts the blade of the sword to the man, and he cries out that he doesn't know because he has never seen such people. The old man also wonders if they even imagine how many people he sees in the tavern every day. Someone else approaches the captain and claims that he doesn't think they are there, so they need to keep looking. Well, the man says no, and looking at the marks, he claims they changed their clothes. The guy clenches his fists and swears, after which he waves his sword and orders him to go to the station and also to move, after which he smiles at him, claiming that he will soon catch Maddie. The main character at this time is heading on a train. Someone approaches Maddie and says that she might be comfortable in men's clothing, but how much longer does he have to pretend to be a woman? The main character whispers to her darling, saying that they have already discussed this, because it is not her appearance that is important, but what is inside her. However, she also has a good face, so let her be more confident and sit up straight, and her hair color is so bright. The man just asks her to stop, and the main character puts a newspaper to his mouth and suggests that he be quieter. When her interlocutor looks at the newspaper, he sees that it says that even the difference in status did not interfere with the love of the Grand Duke of London's. He married a girl from the slums, whom he had been seeing secretly for several months, and despite all the warnings and disapproving looks, the Duke arranged a lavish wedding, spending a fabulous sum on his poor beloved. The main character says that it turned out well there. Someone else on the train asks if his fair one married a commoner. The kind man says it's insulting to classify her as a commoner, since she's from the slums. Someone else claims that his friend from London says that the dukes are crazy about each other, but the duke's beloved is a real madwoman. They also say that the duke has changed, and has he also lost his mind? The duke then turns to Maddie and asks how long they have to go. The main character replies that they are getting off. The blonde just tells her to wait. The lady takes off the hat of one of the passengers and also takes the glasses from above. The girl claims that he will soon be able to take off his dress, and her interlocutor asks if this is true. Maddie replies, yes, and now let him get ready to jump. Julian screams in shock. Does he really need to jump now? The train is still moving. The main character asks why he froze and if he has never jumped from a train. Her interlocutor replies that of course not, and asks who she takes him for. The girl claims that he always screams when he is worried and then claims that she left. Julian screams that it is dangerous, but the girl is already flying off the train. She skillfully swings down the ramp and lands. The guy asks if she is okay, and if she is hurt, and the main character just turns around and extends her hand to him. The guy asks if she's serious, but the girl always does stupid things, and all he can do is worry. After which he jumps, and his wig flies off. Julian also asks God in his thoughts not to let him regret that he fell in love. Maddie. A few months ago, one of the maids asked if the Duke had left today, to which the other replied that, yes, he had gone to the slums again. The man drinks without stopping every evening, and it is painful to watch because such behavior would have broken the heart of the late Mr. Halidon. Grand Duke Ulicon Kun Londoness is the son of Crown Prince Healden, and the only nephew of the Emperor. Unfortunately, the uncle destroyed Ulicon's family, and now the Duke is forced to do everything to hide his true self from the Emperor, who sees in his nephew only a threat to his rule. The guy thinks about the slums and understands that no matter how many times he comes there, but he can't get used to the noise of this place. At the same moment, someone shouts for the old man to bring one beer to this table. Her interlocutor asks if the girl will play again, and she suggests that he not worry because she is just having fun. And she pays for alcohol in private, so let him not grumble or else wrinkles will appear. The man says what a little idiot she is, and claims that he will bring it right now. Just let her sit down. The main character thanks him. Another guy asks if Maddie was locked up again. Another guy asks how long they kept her this time, and the main character replies that her ears are withering from their conversations. The lady says that they kept her today, and she quailed and fell asleep where she shouldn't. Her interlocutor claims that he thought she was caught stealing again. Maddie replied that masters of their craft would not be caught so easily. Another man asks if she has any money, and the main character wonders what kind of soldier would show up on the battlefield without ammunition. The girl also sees a guy with blonde hair. She claims that she hasn't seen him before, and he doesn't look like a gambler, So why did the young gentleman come there? The Duke thought, what a stir, a smart woman, and it would be better not to mess with her. He also claimed that it was enough for today, and also wished everyone a pleasant game. Maddie asked what the young gentleman and let him leave at least a little money for her, after which the lady smiled and insisted that she would go too. Her interlocutor asked why she had just been dealt the card. The girl claimed that she couldn't get enough sleep yesterday, and so she wanted to rest at home. A little while later, the lady goes after this guy, and he says that if she wants to deceive him and get money, then he does not advise it, because now he is not in the mood. The main character thinks how cold he is, after which she claims that his words are so cruel, and is this really how the lords behave these days? The Duke screamed that he would not entertain the madwoman, so let her go away. The guy also notices that on her hand, there is a wall that is laid out in prison cells. It is obvious that there is a swindler in front of him. Well, at that very moment, someone appears behind the lady. While the girl is talking about how intense the gentleman's gaze is, the man behind her swings at her. He is about to hit her, but the lady only dodges and asks who he is. The lady also says that he scared her and asks what he wants. Her interlocutor claims that he is a building materials merchant, after which he screams out what a vile bastard she is, and does she even realize how long he has been looking for her? The man also screams for her to return his wife to him in a good way, but the girl asks what he is talking about and claims that she does not have anyone's wife. The merchant yells at her to stop talking nonsense, and he knows she helped her escape. Maddie claims that the poor thing was covered in bruises all the time, and maybe if he had treated her better, she wouldn't have run away. Let him just take the hint and leave his wife alone. And why take it out on her? The Duke understands that he can beat this guy too, so let him stay out of it. He also sees that this merchant has a cleaver in his hands, and he screams for the girl to tell him where his wife is, or he will bury her in the ground. The main character understands that now she definitely won't be able to cheat, after which she says that he convinced her. But she says that if she wins, then let him not throw tantrums anymore. The girl claims that she can knock such an idiot off his feet in a flash. But the man screams that she will soon end up in the next world. While the Duke screams that he shouldn't do this, the girl shoots with her weapon. When the merchant looks at his leg, he goes into shock and screams in pain. That's how the madness and fun life with Maddie began. The merchant then screamed that it was unfair. He also asked why she uses a gun in a fight. The girl only tells him to take a closer look. After all, she pressed the trigger with one finger and he already fell, but she said that he would collapse in an instant if we started a fight. The lady claims that when she holds this nasty thing, she starts to feel like drinking, after which she turns to the young gentleman and suggests going somewhere quieter and having a drink. Well, the guy just covers his ears, and the girl thinks what's wrong with him, and whether he was really scared by the shot. The girl asks how he is and offers her help, but he only screams for the lady not to touch him. Let her also not think of following him, because he does not want to get involved with such a person. After this, the main character sighs and then says, okay, and asks who wants to drink. Only it's not she who pays for the alcohol, but the building materials merchant. Josh, shocked, asks if he should really be the one to treat her. The Duke is heading home at this time, and remembers how someone addressed him. This man claimed that Julian should survive no matter what, after which the woman completely fell into eternal sleep. Now the guy is thinking what's next, and what he should do after. You can't fall into eternal sleep like his mother and father. First, the father disappeared, and 3 months later his body was found in the lake. All that was left of his strong father was a bloated mass that vaguely resembled a man. The imperial family claimed that it was a self-induced immersion into eternal sleep, but there was no reason why the father would have decided to do such a thing. They were an ideal family and were also happy. The mother's descent into eternal sleep turned out to be just as mysterious. Mom suffered from an unknown disease, and on the day she fell into eternal sleep, her hands turned as blue as her father's. They didn't look for the culprits, and the boy knew everything anyway. But he didn't dare say anything about it, because even thinking about him badly would be a sin. This is the man who inherited the throne because the boy's father fell into eternal sleep, and they call him Lafadite Paragon Londinus. Dad was the crown prince, which meant he was next in line. The boy knew he had to survive. So, from that day on, he pretended to be crazy, and acted like an idiot who had lost all interest in politics. He was nothing but trouble, so his uncle took the throne. Pokupali also remembers how the man approached him and claimed to understand what he was feeling. After all, he also lost his brother and sister-in-law, but Julian needs to pull himself together. The guy thinks what a terrible joke this is. After all, the emperor will plunge him into eternal sleep as soon as he begins to behave in accordance with his title. The guy understands that he needs to do something crazy, and he will do something that will convince everyone that he cannot take the throne. But at that very moment, someone throws a bag over the guy's head, after which they throw him to the floor. The Duke wonders if it is a robber or an assassin, but when he is about to reach for the sword, someone hits him on the head, after which they throw a rope around his neck, causing the guy to start choking and understand that this is how he will end his life. But at that very moment, someone threw the villain away, and when the Duke took off his bag, he saw that it was Maddie. The girl neutralized the robbers one after another. At that moment, someone grabbed the girl by the clothes, and he asked if she really didn't understand who she shouldn't bother. The lady just grabbed his hand, after which she completely removed it with her knee. When he grabbed his face, the girl only added to him from the front, after which she took out a dagger and the man asked her to wait. But the lady did not listen and finished him off. The Duke then turned to the lady in surprise, but then he thought that she had not left him alone since their first meeting. And where would a girl from the slums get a firearm? And her skills are incredible, after which the guy wonders if the emperor really sent her. Well, after which the main character approaches him, but at the same moment she tells the guy to wait, she takes the money from the robbers and says how heavy their bags of coins are. The memory of such a thing even makes her back hurt. The girl hands the Duke a bag of money and says that it is payment for his brooch. The guy asks what she is talking about. The main character screams, "Hasn't he noticed yet?" And then she might not pay him. The girl says that the young gentleman is disappointing because he is in the slums, and if he is not careful, the last pants will be stolen. The lady also takes the rope and wonders if this is his new decoration. The guy screams in shock. Did she steal his brooch? And the lady replies that yes, and it was the one that was on her chest. She was so upset when he refused to drink with her, after which she saw the brooch and decided not to miss the moment. If he had agreed to play poker with her, he would have left without a single penny. But here he got away with just one brooch. The Duke asks if she is really crazy, and the lady replies that a little, after which she asks whether to help him get up. The girl also offers to meet again. After all, she liked him, and the guy is a real handsome man. The Duke then opens the bag of money. He sees his portrait there and wonders if these are mercenaries, but it was the madwoman who saved him. After which the guy tells her to wait for them and understands that this is his chance. He asks the lady to give him some time and understands that this girl will make the emperor forget about him forever. The heroine watches as the guy grabs her hand and then pulls it away, and he claims that even if there is no one around, you shouldn't grab a person like that. But the Grand Duke is braver than she thought. The man asks what she is talking about because he is just in a hurry. Well then, the guy also wonders how she knew who he was. The girl asks if he saw his outfit and shiny silver hair. How could he not guess? And only mercenaries from another country would not recognize him. The Duke claims that she knew everything, but behaved inappropriately, and asks if the lady is afraid of ending up in jail for insulting the imperial family. The girl then says that okay, and he grabbed her to discuss what this matter was. The lady claims to have understood him, and then suggests going. A little while later, they are already heading somewhere. The guy thinks that maybe he made a mistake, and even though the crazy woman saved him from the mercenaries, it doesn't mean that she's on his side. If he is kidnapped in such a place, he will definitely not be found, so he needs to run. At this time, the girl greets him in her modest shop and asks the dear customer to come in. The guy wonders if this is really a secret room right in the wall and when he goes in. Then the girl offers him to sit down and discuss his case, after which he does so, and the main character says okay. Today, they have a very distrustful customer. Well, that's natural since mercenaries often come for his soul, after which the girl says that they will look and claims that he already knows her name. She also wonders why the guy wants to hire her and whether this is personal security. Or maybe someone is needed to cover his tracks when he goes out for walks. They can discuss money, and it would be inefficient to pay for each individual case, so she thinks they can agree on a daily payment of 100 tilons. The Duke at this time claims that first he wants to ask something, and is interested in whether she is loyal to the empire. The girl replies that she is from the slums, so there is no empire for her. Home is where she sleeps, and the owner is the one who pays more. The lady also claims that the customer is already starting to irritate her. The man says that they will hold off on security, after which they claim that he still needs to make sure of something else. He needs to know for sure that the girl was not sent by the enemy, and he is not sure that she has enough strength to protect him from everything. The main character then reaches out to her leg, and the Duke wonders if she really has another weapon there, and maybe it's a dagger. He kept wondering why she needed a multi-layered skirt. Well, here's the answer, and it looks like the girl knows her business. At this time, the main character embarrassedly asks where he is looking, after which he throws the dagger, and it flies past his head. The guy turns around in shock and sees a bug nailed to the wall. The main character claims that she is disgusted to touch insects with her hands, so she usually deals with them like this. The Duke says okay, and she impressed him, and the girl asks if he is worried that the Emperor sent her. Let him listen to her, because she is a business lady and work comes first for her. The lady claims that she is ready to give at least a liver or a gallbladder. She does not know where they are, but she will find out if there are any and pay enough. The girl asks if he sees what sacrifices she is ready to make for the customer, and such is her devotion. The Duke asks how he can know that she is not lying, and the girl asks if he knows why the knife did not hit him. After which, the lady claims that he will be her customer. The guy then looks at the insect and understands that if this girl had been with the Emperor's nougat, she would have plunged him into eternal sleep as soon as they entered. The man then asks what if he was the target from the start, and did he really look like someone who needed protection? The main character replies that no, and he is just cute. Maddie claims that she went after him because of his attractiveness. After all, she likes silver hair and pale skin. But he is also ready to pay for protection. The girl asks if this is true, and this is the order of his whole life, so she will protect him. Maddie claims that she takes her job seriously, and depending on the amount, she will get rid of his enemies in secret or in front of him. She can even deliver the head of a mercenary to his enemy, but for this, you will have to pay extra. The price doubles if we are talking about distant lands, but the guy with a nice haircut can forget about the extra charge. Maddie claims she's doing a great job, and the Duke claims he doesn't want to watch her put someone to sleep. The bodies will need to be removed. The main character says that they decided on that, after which she claims that she is hungry, so once they sort out the agreement, they will need to have a snack. At this time, the Duke asks if she heard what he said, because the bodies of those guys also need to be removed. The girl replies that it's a deserted alley, so they'll clean it up later. She also wonders if he washes the dishes right after he eats. But her interlocutor wonders what cleaning up bodies and washing dishes have in common. The lady then says that it means he washes everything right away, and the guy is such a housewife. The Duke asks why he should write this down. The main character says that he is in someone else's shop, so he should behave decently. The Duke only sighs heavily and asks who taught the girl. Maddie replies that she doesn't remember, and she has forgotten everything that happened before she was 16 or 17. She handles blades and firearms very well, and in unarmed combat, she has no equal either. That's probably why she's been doing this since childhood. The lady also claims that she is returning the dagger to him, and the Duke asks when she managed to steal it, and claims that he is glad that the Emperor did not hire her. The guy is also confidently interested in Lily, only that she is not from a noble family. After which the girl lifts her skirt, and the Duke only turns away but when he glances at her legs. Then he sees a lot of scars and thinks, when did she manage to do it? Maddie says that it's probably awkward to look at her legs, and then let him look at her hands. The noblewoman will not have such scars, and she is just Maddie. She has no past and parents because the girl is an ordinary criminal. Therefore, she will protect the gentleman if he trusts her. The guy tells her to decide whether she will treat him with respect or not. Maddie just smiles after that and says that she will protect him secretly, so what's the point of deciding? Now they can agree on a price, but at the same moment, the guy grabs the lady by the hand and claims that he does not need security. Julian understands that he is colder, and the girl wonders if he really wanted to take her on a date. The Duke replies no, and understands that he will enter into a marriage that will seem crazy to the Emperor. After which, he proposes to the lady to marry, and understands that he will forever close his path to the throne. Julian says that he is convinced that the lady is not connected to the throne, and she will clearly not let you be put into eternal sleep without a fight. You can't ask just anyone to do this, but the girl approaches. The main character at the same moment tells him to wait, and states that she does not agree. The Duke tells her to agree, and the lady wonders if he really thinks she's ready to do anything for money. Maddie says she won't sell her life, and the guy says he'll pay 100 million. The main character turns around in surprise and asks if she misheard. The Duke wonders if even this amount is not enough for her, but he cannot back down. The man claims that he will give 1 billion, and in exactly 3 years they will divorce. Then he will pay her. If the lady wishes to leave the empire, he will cover all expenses, and they will only be couples in public, and he himself does not like unnecessary touching. He also wonders what the girl will say, and the main character addresses him with admiration, as if he were dear to her, and asks where he has been all these years. A little while later, the lady already signs the contract. Firstly, the wedding should be very loud, and secondly, in front of others, they should be a saccharine couple. Julian asks if it is really necessary to formulate it exactly like that, because it is possible to express it differently. The main character just sighs and claims that they need to put on a show. And where does he get such a love for intricate formulations from? Point 3 is to throw away all propriety. And point 4 is that immediately after the wedding, Julian will give Maddie an advance payment of 100 million. Also, the monthly girl will receive funds for living, and he will pay the remaining amount in 3 years. As a result, Maddie will receive 1 billion without taking into account the monthly payments. Point 5 is that any touching is prohibited unless it is necessary. The main character tells him to take into account that the agreement is valid as long as they are both alive, and Maddie undertakes to protect Julian with all her might. But the girl also wonders why he does this, and why he chose her. If you think about it, the conditions are quite strange, and what kind of desire is this to throw away decency? The Duke asks if this really matters, since the agreement is beneficial to both parties, so let her just protect it. The main character says that it is clear, and the guy asks if it really got through to her, and the lady figures it out faster than he thought. Maddie claims that the emperor ordered them to be put into the eternal sleep of a potential heir, so he decided to play the fool. No one would want to see him like this on the throne, and she would become dirt that would finally blacken his name. The Duke understands that the girl is perceptive and speaks fluently. With her intelligence and skills, there is nothing to do in the slums, so he does not understand why she is there and why she wastes time on alcohol and games. Julian also tells the girl to listen and claims that with such skills, she would easily get a place among the guards, so why live in filth stealing cheap trinkets? Maddie replies that she doesn't know, and she probably just doesn't want to be tied down to one place. She feels sick at the thought of having to depend on someone. The guy then tells her to stop it, and the girl asks what he is talking about. Julian tells her to stop addressing him disrespectfully and asks what she thinks people will say. Maddie claims they will think she has thrown decency aside. The Duke claims that because of her, they will stop respecting him, and the girl replies that this is what they are trying to achieve. The girl also addresses the deer and claims that they are going to spend a whole empire, so they need to try. But the man tells her not to address him like that. Maddie wonders why, and she can say darling or call him treasure. The lady addresses him as her love and also calls him sweetie. Her interlocutor then sighs and claims that he already understood that people decided to disgrace him, but let her do it wisely. People must believe that he fell in love with her for a reason. The girl then tells the dear customer that she understood, after which she adds one more point, that she will shame him with intelligence. The man then says that he will now sign the contract and tells her to give him something else to add. When he writes this, the lady states that she wants to read it. The man adds that he added a clause that Maddie will not run away no matter what threats and insults she faces. If she runs away during the contract, she will have to pay Julian 10 times the previously agreed upon amount. The main character says, what a cute way to forbid her from falling into eternal sleep and giving up. And he even hid such a simple thought behind complex words. The man claims that he also wants to relive these 3 years, and then the lady tells him to finish writing it. And when they sign the contract, the girl asks when the wedding will take place. The Duke notes that he will propose first, and something dramatic is needed. While searching for the Grand Duke, a few days later, someone cries out to Riley. The head maid screams at her to grab her jacket and take these shoes. There was chaos in the Duke's estate, and her interlocutor claims that the lady herself refused the brown pair last time. The woman replies that it wasn't the color but the pattern, and that these boots are very neat and should fit. The woman also asks what came over him, because before, the Duke did not listen when they asked him to button his shirt and comb his hair. Her interlocutor wonders if she hasn't figured it out yet. After all, it's all about love, of course, and she doesn't know what noble family this lady is from. But fate certainly brought her and the Duke together. The head maid said that this girl only had love stories on her mind. Her interlocutor claims that it is high time for the Duke to find a beloved. But at that very moment, the butler approaches the lady and tells her to bring clothes for us in Korea because his lordship is waiting. Riley immediately replies that yes, and she is coming. At this time, another servant tells the butler that he has brought everything. The man says that Miley did a good job and can now go. The butler also turns to the maid and claims that his lordship has long thought only about games and is now preparing this. And did he really fall in love? A little while later, Julian is heading out in a carriage, and then the coachman tells his lordship that they have arrived, after which the man gets out of the carriage with a bouquet of flowers. The Duke remembers how the lady said that they were going to lead the whole empire, so they had to try. The guy also understands that he needs to portray joy and excitement. He also turns to the coachman and tells him to wait because he will not return alone. His interlocutor then answers that, yes, but when the Duke moves on, he asks in shock what the gentleman is talking about. The guy understands that at first when he meets Maddie, who will say that he dreamed of building a future with her from their first meeting, after which he will give her flowers, and the girl will be his bride, so the speech should be inspired. You will have to play a young man who is head over heels in love. And by the way, they agreed to meet there, and the guy, turning around, wonders if she really ran away. But at that very moment, someone cries out to him as if he were dear, and asks why he came so early. The girl also claims with a smile on her face that she missed him, and the guy wonders if she really called him darling. The Duke wonders if she has forgotten about their agreement, or if she simply doesn't know how to act carefully. At this time, Nanny turns to Julian and asks if he has come to her again. But she wanted to visit him once herself. The guy is only embarrassed by this, after which he thinks why it's like there's a different person in front of him. If you think about it, she mentioned that she liked his face, and the guy wonders if this crazy woman really likes him. At this time, the main character is surprised and wonders if he really bought her flowers, to which the guy replies that yes. The girl thanks him with a smile on her face and claims that no one has ever brought her such lush bouquets before. People also turn to his lordship and claim that he has given gays many happy first moments, so she is very grateful. For me, this makes him a little embarrassed, but then he becomes completely surprised, wondering why his heart is beating so hard. This is bad because at least one of them should keep his sanity. The Duke also whispers to the lady if she has forgotten that they are just pretending, so she should pull herself together. After this, the main character only turns to the Duke with a smile on her face and claims that there are many people around, and he offers this, and she can't even believe it. The lady also turns to his lordship, and he whispers that he needs to concentrate right now. The Duke wonders if she's been playing all this time. At this time, the lady claims that he has turned pale and suggests that they go somewhere. Well, the girl whispers and asks whether he wants to convince the emperor that he has gone mad or not. The guy then thinks that this is true and he should concentrate, so he plays along with her. He turns to Maddie. They claim that he knows this isn't the best place to confess, but he can't hold back any longer. The girl asks if he really wants to say something, but she is already happy because he gave her such a bouquet. Well, in her thoughts, the lady adds that he should quickly say everything there, and the guy understands what it means. It's time to propose. He takes Maddie by the hand and asks her to marry him, causing the girl's bouquet to fall. Milady apologizes but claims that she seems to have misunderstood him. The guy then says that he is proposing to her. He offers Maddie to live together because that's all he needs, and he offers to always be together. People are shouting congratulations and claiming that she has won this life. One of them also tells them to look at the girl because she is all red. Well, at that very moment, the lady screams out, apologizing to her dear one, and he, in shock, turns to Maddie. The guy understands that this was not part of the plan, and if she decides to run away, he will not be able to stop her, because the girl dealt with two large men. After which the guy grabs her hand and the lady turns around with tears in her eyes. The Duke wonders if he was able to hold her back, and also wonders why Maddie is running away. The girl replies that she doesn't want to get married, and the guy says that they should get married. He also asks why she doesn't want to get married, and the lady screams asking what will they say, people, because they will think that she fell in love with him because of his status. She didn't plan to marry him and didn't think that things would go so far after which people would scream that she couldn't handle it. Maddie also wonders why he kept giving her happy days again and again. She has enough of what she already has, and the wedding is too much. The Duke is shocked and wonders what to say because everything didn't go according to plan. At that very moment, he throws him a watch and tells him to take it, after which she throws him the ring and screams for him to take everything that reminds her of him, even the cufflinks. The man is shocked and wonders when she managed to steal his things. He also tells the lady to wait. But when he sees her gaze, he is surprised, and the girl hits him on the chest and screams that he is from a noble family and is also a great duke. Now he promises her a happy marriage, but when people start judging her, he will just turn away. So let him let her go and leave good memories. The Duke realizes that after all these blows, he almost fell into eternal sleep, and he wonders if she is really trying to put him into eternal sleep herself. At this time, the lady grabs him by the tailcoat, and when she approaches him, she whispers for him to hug her. The guy does so, and realizes that the lady is giving off a floral scent. The girl whispers for him to say that she loves her, after which he does just that and claims that he loves her, and therefore will never leave her. The lady whispers that he should put his thumb to her lips, and when the guy does that, he approaches her and they pretend to kiss. All the people immediately shout with congratulations, and one of them claims that she is such a rebel. The girl shyly cries out for them to be quiet, and asks if she can be alone with her beloved, because no one is forbidding her from getting married. The Duke thinks what a convincing game this is, and surely a girl in love would act exactly like this. Julian realizes that he made the right choice, and when he hands the lady the ring, he claims that on the day of their meeting, his world changed. But he is convinced that now he will always be exactly like this. The lady then smiles and asks if he is sure that she is the one. The Duke understands that in their minds the answer is obvious and the girl will protect him. A short time later, there were articles in the newspapers about the scandalous affair between the Duke and a girl from the slums. That same evening, the entire empire learned of the Grand Duke's proposal, and one of the aristocrats asked if this girl really had no status, and it seemed that the boy had finally lost his mind. The story of the love between a nobleman and a low-born girl astounded everyone. Julian Cunlidon's passion for gambling was also discussed differently, and one of the men claimed that it was not for gambling that he went to the slums. One of the ladies claimed that love knows no bounds, while the other asked if that wasn't romantic. Rumors spread like wildfire, and when they returned to the duchy, the man told Maddie to be careful. The girl, getting out of the carriage, asked if the darling was offering her his hand, after which she thanked him. The workers of the Duke's estate became the main witnesses of their love. A little while later, one of the workers asks why his lordship brought a beggar into the house, since she is with him only because of his position. One of the maids claims that Ghetto is walking arm in arm with her, and seems to be head over heels in love with her. The cook asks if their kind-hearted master has fallen into the net of this woman. He also claims that he will not allow some impudent woman to eat good food and let her try salt, but at the same moment, someone says that is enough. It turns out to be the butler, and he claims that this is his lordship's decision, so they can only accept it. He has been lonely for many years, and they are unable to fill the hole in his heart. But maybe this woman can handle it. When these two sit at the table, people say it looks so delicious. The lady also thanks her dear one for cutting the meat for her, after which she hands him a piece of meat. And she tells him to say, but she wanted to do this for a long time. They always just walked along the streets, so they didn't eat together. All the servants are shocked by this, and the cook seems to be asking the Duke not to agree. The Duke at this time remembers how the lady told him to look at her while eating about once every 3 seconds, and not to forget to smile. The guy does this at this time, but when he tries the food, his face changes a little. He also offers to swap plates with Maddie, and when the lady asks why, the man claims that his meat was a little overcooked, and, to his shame, he is a picky eater. Probably the cook made a mistake because he is not used to making 2 portions. The main character then says that here are some claims that she does not mind because he can eat her dishes. Then the girl eats potatoes and smiles, and the Duke asks if something is wrong. The main character replies that the butter on the sweet potato is very soft, and it seems the cook added honey. The Duke then turns to him and asks if this is true, to which the man replies that yes, they added the best honey, and the people from the slums had never seen such oil. The girl replies that it is very tasty, and asks if she can have a portion of his lordship's, to which he replies that yes. After which, they smile at each other, and the lady looks at the potatoes and remembers what happened last night. One of the servants approached the potato and took some kind of syringe out of his pocket, after which he picked up the potato. But at that very moment, someone grabbed him by the clothes and asked if it was really his doing and if he had thought of poisoning the sweet potato. A short time later, the man was lying with his eyes and mouth blindfolded. The main character came up to him and claimed that he had finally woken up. The man realized that this was the voice of the woman who had caught him, and the lady tells him not to twitch because he has something in his mouth. To be precise, it is the very poison that he brought. And she's not talking about a syringe, but about a bottle, although it's the size of a fist. She took out the cork and plugged the neck with a cloth. Therefore, it is not recommended to move the covenant. The more it moves, the faster the poison is absorbed into the tissue, and most likely some of it has already gotten on its tongue. After which, the girl tells him to tell who sent him. The man understands that if she finds out the truth, his entire family will be put into eternal sleep, so he won't say anything. The lady asks if this is true and claims that it looks like there is no choice. This warehouse has been abandoned for a long time, so they won't find him there anytime soon and let the guy take care of himself. The man then tries to scream, but then he falls to the floor and realizes that his whole body is going numb and wonders if it is because of the poison. He remembers how the emperor claimed that it was a poison that caused paralysis and that it would not instantly plunge one into eternal sleep, so the servant should not worry and simply add a little to the duke's food. The man realizes that he knew he had to escape when he was given the order. He said there would be no instantaneous immersion into eternal sleep, but if he swallowed too much, paralysis would be the end of him. The man wonders if he will really end up like this, and he would like to explain himself, stalemate. If the girl is going to interrogate him, then at least let him speak. But at that very moment, he hears someone else enter the room, and that person screams out whether the servant is okay. The guy wonders if this is the Grand Duke of London's. The main character says that you shouldn't help this man because he poisoned his food, but his lordship maintains that it is still wrong to treat a person like that. There must be a reason for his actions, and Julian claims that it was Miley, and he worked for his family for more than 10 years, so he was probably threatened. Miley wouldn't wish him ill because he was almost like a son to him. After which the Duke removes the bandage from his mouth and turns to Miley, and also wonders if it is true that he poisoned the food. The servant then says his lordship and that he is sorry because they promised a lot of money. Julian says that he should not force himself to speak because it is probably difficult for him because of the poison. His interlocutor talks about his children and claims that he really needs this money, but he regrets it so much. The Duke claims he will bring the antidote. Maddie claims the man told everything, so let him die since I have already spread anyway. His lordship claims that Miley cannot be blamed. He is responsible for the actions of his kind, so he will find an antidote. At this time, the servant understands that he cannot even believe it, and why, after all this, the Duke is so kind to him. If he's going to end badly, at least he'll tell him the truth, and maybe that'll save him from that man. Miley screams that it's Montesando. The Duke immediately approaches him and claims that he told him not to tell them because they would cure him, and when he wakes up, he will immediately leave. But then he screams that he can't do it anymore, and the Duke says that he understands, after which he suggests stopping screaming. A little while later, this man is already being taken away, and the main character says what a fool he is. And didn't it seem strange to him that they untied his mouth but didn't remove the blindfold? The ropes were loosely tied so he would get out himself. The girl also jumps off the roof and asks the Duke why they didn't really poison him, because he tried to put him into eternal sleep, and they could have responded in kind, because she certainly wouldn't have been able to hold back. The Duke replies that he will not allow anyone to be poisoned, but their general plan was successful. After all, if he had interrogated this man himself, he would not have said anything, but the girl offered to put poison in his mouth and beat him to find out everything, so he is glad that he stopped her in time. A little while ago, a man asked if there was another way, and the girl asked what else to pour into him, and whether it was possible to at least lie about the poison, to which he replied that she could do whatever she wanted. The man also claimed that she had eaten poisoned sweet potatoes and asked if the poison had worked. The main character replies that she won't be taken by such a person, and then asks if he was worried, but her heart is about to burst out of her chest. The Duke suggests that she stop joking and hurry up, after which the lady does so, and also asks who this count is. The man answers that it is Count Montesando, is his uncle. The girl asks if it's true and if she should put him into eternal sleep right now. His lordship only screams after this. The girl says that he scared her and asks why he is screaming again. He just suddenly became so gloomy, and she still needs to take care of him for another 3 years. Julian claims that he will not fall into eternal sleep and will survive at any cost. So let her have no doubts, and today he is very grateful to her for saving his life. Well, she climbed onto the horse without any difficulty, and that means she managed to cope with the animal. He also wonders why she sat in front. The lady claims that she really doesn't know how to ride a horse, but if he helps, she will quickly learn, because she grasps everything easily. The girl also turns to her dear one and asks why he doesn't have security, because with such a life he should have acquired it already. The man replies that he had security in his youth, but everyone who was nearby either fell into eternal sleep or ran away, and now no one will take on this job. Julian also thinks that perhaps the lady will also get scared and run away in a couple of months. And what can we say about 3 years? But the main character claims that then she will become the first guardian who will not leave him. The guy is surprised by this and then sighs. He understands that today he almost fell into eternal sleep, and the girl continues to laugh. Then he tells the lady to try not to fall into eternal sleep, and she replies that she would never do such a thing, so he should believe her. The lady also screams that $1 billion awaits her, and the guy realizes that he has probably gone crazy, or maybe this girl influenced him. A little while later, the two return to the estate. When they head to the mansion, the services are observed by them, and a little while later, the main character says that he was probably tired from the walk earlier, so she will go to bed. The guy is silent for a while after that, and then turns to Maddie. When he takes her hand, he asks if she will stay with him today. When they head to the room, the girl tells him to wait and asks how they will sleep in the same room. The man replies that when they get married, they will always have to sleep together, and then she should follow him. When they enter the room, the guy stops smiling and tells her to return the thing she stole. The Duke says something about the ring with the family symbol and wonders why she stole it. The girl says that he usually doesn't pay attention, so why did he notice now? The man asks what difference it makes to her, and if she stole something else, then let her give it back. Because if she starts stealing jewelry, her services will be suspected. The Duke cries out, "Does she really want to be branded a thief, and what about her $1 billion?" The lady then says that it is fair, and throws out everything that has accumulated in her skirt. The Duke cries out that she has been there for less than a day, so why did she steal so much? At this time, the girl says that she almost forgot, after which she hands him the contract. The guy asks if this is really a contract. But everyone has their own copy, and this is hers. But at that very moment, he grabs the contract and screams, "Did she steal his copy?" Maddie asks who carries such important papers in their breast pocket, and anyone's hands would itch. After this, Peach gets embarrassed and screams that no one will climb onto his chest. The main character only smiles at this and asks if he has seen himself and if anyone would covet his body. The guy then tells her to stop and claims that he is introducing new rules. Firstly, she can't make any spontaneous thefts. The lady is wondering if he will really add this to the contract. What sacrifices have to be made for the sake of $1 billion? The man asks what the point of the contract is if she doesn't behave decently, and the girl says okay, and she agrees not to steal anything. The guy at this time claims that, secondly, she cannot do any immersion in eternal sleep in the heat of the moment. The lady is about to agree to this after this, but then she starts screaming why, and what if she is being threatened? And suddenly she finds herself in danger. The Duke tells her to just think about the situation in which taking a life is not necessary, and also that she should not run away from him. The main character says with a smile on her face how romantic it is, and her interlocutor claims that he reported the bodies of those men to the guards. They are looking for witnesses and the culprit, but the girl wonders if he shouldn't have cleaned up. Julian replies that it was cleaning for her, and the lady will be put in prison for murder should he say a word. The girl claims that she likes him, but he already wants to put her behind bars. At this time, the guy remembers how his mother told him not to fall into eternal sleep, and now the young man tells the lady not to just run away, because she will get the money and he will live. After which, the lady says that she understood, and the man claims that they have common interests, so until the very end. But then the man notices that the lady is starting to take off her dress, and wonders why she is undressing. The main character asks with a smile on her face what he is talking about, because the Duke himself brought her to him late at night. So, she suggests doing what is expected of them. The interlocutor is surprised, and claims that he had not planned anything like that. He also claims that there is a clause in the contract that they will not touch each other, and the girl asks why he is so nervous. Let the guy think for himself, because he is a crazy lover who practically kidnapped her from the slums and publicly announced their relationship. And now, he brought her to his place in peace, and at such a late hour. Her interlocutor claims that he simply wanted to return what she stole, and he will not spend the night with a woman for whom he has no feelings. And she doesn't have to go for it, after which the lady claims that she doesn't offer him a dance in bed. They need to put on a show. The lady also claims that wooden floors are good at transmitting sound. The girl also offers to rock the bed. A little while later, the two lie down on the bed and the lady claims that she is tired. The baby also claims that while she is sweaty, she needs to dirty the sheets. Hey, the Duke is wondering if all this is really necessary. Maddie wonders if he wants to join too, but rumors always notice such things. The man at this time states that he means should they deceive everyone. The main character wonders if he doesn't want to pay, or if he wants to fall into eternal sleep, after which the two of them start rolling around on the bed, and the Duke thinks that, okay, let the whole world look for his immersion into eternal sleep. But he has a woman on his side who is ready to protect him for a tidy sum. And yet, he wanted to bring a cheeky girl or a slob, but in the end he found a full set. But that's good because we can consider the plan a success. The Duke turns to Maddie and says that if someone offers her twice as much for his head, she should not agree. The girl replies, that of course, and she understands his concern, because performers often commit betrayal, but she does not approve of this approach and always adheres to the principle that reputation comes first. The guy asks if she will leave him for $5 billion, and the girl replies that she will never. Yes, she likes men with silver hair, and his life is worth more than $5 billion. The Duke then says that he will pay her generously every month. Their main character says that it is wonderful. Her interlocutor claims that the lady cannot limit herself and says that she understands. He also wonders if the girl will leave even for $10 billion, and when the lady begins to think about it, the Duke cries out to her. Maddie, with a smile on her face, insists that she is joking, so he should go to bed already. The Duke is clearly tired and not sleeping all night is harmful. The guy then asks if she is sure she won't leave for $10 billion, to which the lady replies that no, and she won't lie to him. She often has to see a doctor, but not in this case. After which, the lady puts out the candle and tells the Duke not to make such a sad face. Julian claims that he was always curious about why she so often pays attention to his face, and whether he really reminds her of her one love or something like that. The girl answers her dear one that he is her first love, and that he also thinks too much. If the bad guys come, she will deal with them in a jiffy, so let him not worry and get some sleep. The next morning, they are already having breakfast, and the Duke realizes that it looks like all the efforts of yesterday have paid off. The Duke recalls one of the maids claiming she heard the bed creak at night. It was so embarrassing. The guy understands that this is a lady, and she really knows her business, so he will have to play along. But at the same moment, the main character holds out something else, and claims that an urgent message arrived in the morning, and she had already looked at it. The Duke claims that business is not discussed at the table because it is indecent, and the ladies ask if this is true. After which she claims that she will throw it away, and anyway, there is something on it from a bastard with a last name that she can't even pronounce. The guy immediately snatches the paper out of her hands, and the lady says that this is indecent. After which the Duke tells her to be quieter. When Julian looks at this letter, he understands that it is from his uncle. The man wrote that he found out that this woman had committed many bad deeds, and does he really want to marry her? Because it is impossible. His decision saddened the late Crown Prince Halden. Tomorrow he will visit him, and they will dine together and discuss their future. Now the guy looks at his watch and realizes that it's already 10 o'clock, after which he screams for Maddie to get ready because they need to change her clothes. The girl, in shock, asks what he is talking about and why she should try to impress the one who wanted to poison him. The guy claims that for the wedding, they need the approval of 3 representatives of the family, and in order to get permission, they will have to play by their rules for now. The main character says that this is how it is, and then it's time to spend expensive money. The guy then turns to Maddie and claims that he will buy her everything, so she shouldn't steal anything. Light then says okay, but wonders why he's so worried. Anyone would believe that he is in love with her. Julian claims that he would never love such a girl, and the lady asks if he is sure about this kind of feeling is unpredictable. The guy then turns to the lady and says that if she is thinking about a real relationship, then she should stop joking because he is not in the mood. But the girl tells her darling not to worry, because she will never allow herself to fall in love. At this moment, he runs out and addresses his lordship. The Duke asks what is the matter, and his interlocutor claims that it is better for him to remain in the estate. After all, an urgent matter has arisen, and the man is wondering if it is really so unexpected, and this can't be. He also wonders if it was because of Maddie, but he knew that he should have just gotten rid of the bodies. The man then says that it is clear, and then let him bring the maid there, and they will send her with Maddie, to which the butler agrees. The Duke at this time approaches Maddie and tells her to listen carefully, and the woman claims that she knows that there is no need to steal anything, and you can't put anyone into eternal sleep. The girl also asks what else is there and whether she should not run away. The Duke says that she should not cause trouble to anyone and quickly choose clothes and return. There is already enough gossip because of the fact that she was allowed into the Duke's house, so let the girl behave decently. After this, she tells her dear that it's good, and that she raised him so that he shouldn't grumble and keep quiet. The girl also turns to the butler and says that he came with a maid. The Duke claims that it is Riley, and he trusts the girl to her. The maid claims that she will look after her mistress and they will return soon, after which the main character waves to her dear one and tells him to wait for her dressed up. When the man turns to the butler, he asks what the matter is, and he confirms it, that His Majesty the Emperor sent a letter. When the maid goes with the main character, the butler looks at her angrily and understands that this woman is trying to seduce an innocent gentleman or profit from him. She'll make her run away in tears. The main character claims that they drove through the gate, but are they really still in the garden? The maid then sighs and claims that there is a huge garden around the estate. Soon they will cross 2 gates that are larger and then leave the area. You could say that this is a park, and the main character asks if this is true. But the Duke's lands are really vast. The girl also turns to the maid and asks if she is comfortable sitting like this. She also claims that there is no need to observe formalities and let him speak freely, because it will be easier for her too. The maid then claims that if the Duke marries the lady, she will become the mistress of the estate, so she cannot be familiar with her. Maddie says that she shouldn't look so far ahead, and why worry in advance? Riley understands that there is meaning in the girl's words. She also asks if her interlocutor loves the Duke, and therefore accepted his proposal. The main character replies that of course she loves him, but their positions in society are different, and it is difficult for her to overcome such a gap. The Duke is kind and noble, and if his relatives are against the marriage, he will certainly give in. That's why she wants to enjoy every day spent there. The maid thinks, what is this girl? And she thought that she was just a liar and a fraud, but now she begins to doubt. But Riley asks what if his lordship loves her too much, and suddenly he does not give in, and the maid also asks if the lady is too pessimistic. The main character wonders if she really thinks that a wedding is that simple, but they are only engaged and nothing is decided for sure until they exchange vows at the altar. After all, she was from the slums. If they had met somewhere by chance, the maid wouldn't have even spoken to her. The main character also puts her hand on the maid's hand and asks if she will help her choose her clothes, since this is the first time she will choose things with someone. Riley says that this was the first time for the lady, and didn't she have any brothers or sisters or anything? The girl replies that she didn't have anyone, so she's a little nervous. The maid understands that for some reason, she wants to sympathize with her, and perhaps she has not a single person's education on a good one. After which the maid tells the lady not to worry, because she will pick out the best outfit for her and the Grand Duke himself asked for it. The heroine asks if this is true, and then thanks her. The girl claims that even if she is thrown out of the estate today, their trip will become another happy memory. She also asks what the maid's name is because she just doesn't remember names well. The girl replies that her name is Riley. The main character asks if that is true, after which she claims that it is a cute name and claims that her name is Maddie, and Riley can call her by name. The girl understands that this is an innocent woman worthy of sympathy. Many will call her a vile fox who bewitched the Duke, and now the girl says that it is good, and also understands that he wants to become her support. The main character at this time is thinking about how the girl will fall under her charm. And did the maid really think that she would allow herself to be spat out so easily? She will stay even if she has to burn the hair on the Count's head. A little while later, the Count arrives at the estate. The guy claims that he is glad to see his uncle, and he asks if the guy knows why he is there. He also wonders who allowed him to make such an absurd proposal and screams where this woman is. The Duke replies that she is preparing to greet her uncle, but he is afraid that she will be a little late. His interlocutor says that the Grand Duke should choose more decent jewelry and that he will no longer be taken seriously if he gives preference to something cheap. But he will take care of everything. Let the guy not interfere, and he will find a decent match for him. But his interlocutor replies that there is no need to believe him. He has already fallen in love. His uncle wonders if he really thinks that love will feed him. He's just young, and the blood is rushing to his head, and he doesn't know anything, so he says such things. The man also screams that he should just listen to his elders for now, because there should be a limit to everything, especially when it comes to a girl from the slums. At that moment, someone shouts out to the man, greeting him and claims that her name is Maddie, and that she is also glad to meet him. The man screams that she is crazy and offers to stop screaming, but the girl only apologizes and claims that he spoke so loudly that she decided that he had poor hearing. One granny I know also screams all the time because of this. The Duke then looks at the girl and claims that she is beautiful. The main character asks him how he likes the outfit, and her interlocutor claims that he was worried, but her choice exceeded all expectations. Maddie claims that the maid tried hard, so she should definitely be rewarded. The Duke claims that Riley, as always, tried her best. He also turns to Maddie and asks her to lick him, after which the girl replies that of course and thanks his lordship. His uncle is wondering at this moment if this girl is really tied up and how can he say what to a slob. She just screamed louder than any banshee, after which the man understands that she has a face. But this does not stop her from being a girl from the slums, and the girl will run away at the slightest pressure. The lady at this time says that if the Duke's uncle is okay, then she thinks it's time to serve drinks. The lady also winks at the Duke, and then he wonders if she's really talking about drinks, after which he realizes that Maddie is probably up to something. The uncle asks if they have prepared drinks, and the main character answers that yes, and these drinks were prepared for the Count. The man then looks at the glasses in surprise, and wonders if absinthe is safe in large quantities. The girl answers the Count that he was right, and if he drinks too much, he will fall into eternal sleep. But this drink is amazing. The man wonders if this witch really knows about the poison, but that can't be true because Ulican wouldn't be so calm if they knew. At this time, the ladies turn to the Count and, raising their glass, offer him a drink. When the man looks at the glass with confusion, the lady asks if something is wrong and if this is his first time trying absinthe. And if he doubts, then let him allow her, and when the lady drinks a glass, he claims that it is amazing. The girl also claims that if the poison tasted the same, she would have allowed herself to be sent without a doubt. Her interlocutor understands that this woman knows everything, and in the morning, he found out that Miley was missing, and it was not worth simply brushing it off. Someone reported that no one had seen Miley since yesterday, but the man claimed that it didn't matter and that he was probably drinking somewhere. Now he wonders if this woman found out and got rid of Miley, which means Julian also knows. The Duke turns to his uncle at this time and asks if he will give them his blessing. The man understands that he knows nothing, and in such a situation, he only cares about the wedding. The Count also shouts for the boy to wait, but the main character only pulls the bottle out of her bag. The man is shocked and wonders where he is from, and the Duke asks if Maddie has another drink. The girl replies that absinthe tastes better if you drink it in small portions from such bottles, and at least that's what she was told. The Duke tells the girl not to drink too much, otherwise she could ruin her health. The girl replies that it's fine, but when is she going to drink it? Then the Count rises from his seat and screams at her to spit it out. After all, if a girl drinks too much, it will be bad. The main character asks the Count what happened, and he is so worried as if she swallowed poison. But at that very moment, the girl grabs her throat, which shocks the man. The Duke asks what happened to Maddie. Agraf grabs his head and screams that this is why you can't drink so much at once. He also screams for a doctor to be brought, but the main character does not get up and asks if he is surprised. It seemed to her that the Count was nervous, so she decided to relax him with a joke. The Duke, with a smile on his face, says that's how it is, but he was scared and his heart couldn't cope with her humor. The man then sits back down in shock, and the bottle rolls towards him and falls off the table, breaking. The man looks at his reflection in one of the shards and then leaves, claiming that he needs to think things over and will return later. The young gentleman and his future wife say that the uncle should come again. And the main character tells the count that she will also wait. At this time, the Duke whispers, asking how she could drink poison in front of him and whether she really has gold instead of brains. The lady tells him not to worry because there really was alcohol there, and was the dear one really worried that she would fall into eternal sleep? The guy asks if she really thinks that the uncle will fall for the threats. The girl replies that it was just a warning and let the guy believe because they will get approval. The Duke claims that he invested and avoided, and is the girl really planning to get approval like that? Maddie claims that he is alive, which means he will be able to host their wedding. So the Duke will not be so pessimistic. The lady also turns to her dear one and claims that from now on, whoever dares to threaten him will be with her beloved. She will sort it out personally and will not leave a single trace. If he wants to live, then let him trust her. The guy then says that the bitch waited and asks where she is. Answer her room on the other side. Maddie claims that she has business, and the man says that she should first give him the poison that she took from Miley and not let him carry it with him. The girl then turns to her dear one and says that apparently she drank real poison and that she also did something wrong. The man is shocked and wonders if she drank poison, and that means the girl will also fall into eternal sleep like his mother. The Duke then curses and claims that he knew it would come to this and asks how much time has passed. He also claims that he will call a doctor, so after the lady, he does not go anywhere. He also tells the girl to stay right there and not leave. The main character puts her hand on his shoulder and says that everything is fine because she will not fall into eternal sleep. The poison will not put her into eternal sleep, and her body will cope with it. She is alive now and will live. The girl also tells him to try not to give in to weakness in front of others, because it will ruin his image. But people are always watching. The lady asks if he understands and claims that he will be fine and will be back soon. The Duke wonders if people are watching right now, and it looks like there are servants nearby. And that's why the girl smiled like that. Otherwise, she wouldn't have shown him that beautiful smile. The man says that it's okay, it's cold outside, so she shouldn't forget her coat and take care of herself. After which, the Duke states that he will go, and the lady realizes that all this is becoming so natural. She also wonders if this guy has any friends, since she just said goodbye and he came in for a kiss. A little while later, someone knocks on the door of the guy with red hair, and when he opens the door, then he sees the main character and asks if that is Maddie. After which, he tells her to pass. The guy also wonders why she didn't say anything, because he already thought that some drunk was pestering him. The girl replies that she was being followed, and if they find out about him, there will be problems. The young man screams, "Are they really following her and she dragged them there?" Maddie replies that if she had disappeared before their eyes, they would have suspected something, so let them think that they are in control. The guy turns to his sister and claims that he almost had a stroke when he read the news, and wonders if she is really engaged to the Grand Duke. After which, he asks if the girl really fooled the aristocrat, and if she is not afraid that she will have to spend her whole life on the run. The main character realizes that she forgot to explain everything to Knox. 7 years ago, the young man held a wallet in his hands. The lady met the guy on the street, and he was a refugee. The girl claimed that she was going to break his little arms, and when she gave the wallet to the man, she apologized. The boy claimed that the lady also rummages through pockets, so why shouldn't he? Maddie was told that the man had come for a birthday present for her daughter, and that he should look at his clothes, since he had clearly been saving money for a long time for the sake of the child. Knox cried out that it must be nice when your birthday is celebrated, but what business is it of his? The lady then insisted that he should watch his language if he wanted to steal. Then let him steal from the rich. Better let him clean out the one who can afford to lose his wallet and buy a new one without thinking. Then the girl taught this guy the art of deception and theft, and they did all sorts of things. Now, Knox, ask your sister if she really wants to rob the Duke alone, or if she has another accomplice. The girl understands that of all the swindlers she knows, he has the best instincts and the most dexterous hands, but she doesn't want to involve him. At this time, the young man cries out to his sister and claims that he also wants to, so let her allow him to help. The main character grabs him by the hand and then tells him to sit down and close his mouth, to which he agrees. The girl understands that in this job, you have to not only protect lives, but also take them. She will never teach Knox to put him into eternal sleep, and she can't let others find out about their agreement. The main character says that it is not a lie and she is getting married. Her interlocutor claims that he knows that she had previously had idiots who proposed marriage to her while the lady was deceiving them. Well, she's not going to rob him and leave him at the altar. And will the girl marry him? The guy asks why, and the main character replies that he loves her no matter who she is. Knox is shocked by this and asks what he knows. He asks if this person knows about the thefts and that she is a liar and does dirty work. Maddie replies that almost everything, and he understands that it will be difficult with her. The guy then cries out to his sister whether she is too soft on herself, and he wonders if she really said that it's difficult with her. But it's simply impossible with her, and the girl screams out what this brat said. The guy says that she should listen because when he found out about the offer, he decided to find out something, and he thought that the lady really intended to deceive the Duke. Julian Coonlondines is the only son of the Crown Prince, and only he has the part Coon in his name. It is inherent in those who are recognized as the eldest in the family, the neutron must belong to him. But after his father and mother fell into eternal sleep, his uncle Lafayette Paragon Lundines took over the throne, and since then, the Duke has been wandering around the slums. But there are no other rumors about him. No women, no illegitimate children, and he is simply a kind person. The young man also tells Maddie not to marry him 5, and he feels so sorry for the Duke. After this, the girl simply kicks the chair the guy is sitting on, after which he falls. Knox asks why she is a girl. She is going to ruin a couple's life, and she is just terrible. Maddie claims that she will marry him, so let the guy stop talking and find out more about Count Montesando. He lived, and let him find out everything about the children, too. The guy asks who it is, and the main character replies that it is her fiancé's uncle. Her interlocutor asks if she shouldn't get along with him, and he asks if he's rich or a bad man. Maddie replies that the bastard tried to do something bad to the Duke, and he damaged what belongs to her, so he will pay for it. The young man thinks that this is bad, and how could the Count make her so angry? The main character understands that he is trying to get her money, so she will do this to him and let this Count get ready. Knox then thinks that it really is unsafe there, so they should remove the sharp objects, or else he will get it too. The guy says that he understands, and that this scoundrel really should be taught a lesson. Well, he also turns to his sister and asks what she wants in the end and let her tell him otherwise he won't be able to find a way. The main character replies that the way to do it is to first let him provide her with information, and the guy then suggests that she tell him how much she wants revenge, and does she really want his descendants to pay? After this, the girl thinks a little and says that maybe she should just teach him a little lesson, or maybe take everything from him, or just finish with him. In general, she thinks about it, and her interlocutor asks whether she wants to put him into eternal sleep, and whether he should cover his tracks again. Maddie claims that they will not put him into eternal sleep because the Duke asked for it. He said not to put people into eternal sleep indiscriminately. Knox almost pukes after that and says how disgusting it is. The main character tells him to shut up and then suggests that he listen carefully. The Duke proposed to her and she agreed because she likes him, and that's it. The guy asks what after winning you back, and she won't leave everything as is. Maddie claims that he harmed Julian and is preventing her from getting into high society. As long as Montesando is nearby, he will not stop interfering, and the guy says that he understands. After which, he wishes them a happy married life, and the main character tells him to wait for her in 3 days, and she is counting on him. After this, the guy tells his sister that of course, and he congratulates her and also wishes her good luck. When the girl comes out, the young man thinks that Maddie has really fallen in love, and at least she is very persistent in showing it. The guy opens the passage to the secret room and thinks whether it is worth finding out about his wife and children in the same. He understands that time is short, so he must begin immediately. A little while later, the Duke reads a letter from His Majesty. The guy thinks what he wrote there, and the Emperor said in this letter that he would choose a bride for the Duke instead of his father. The young man wonders if he first put his father into eternal sleep, and now he's become a matchmaker, and what nonsense that is. He could have easily pulled this off without even notifying him, and he just wants to see him give in. After which, the guy burns this letter and still remembers how his mother coughed. Now, the young man screams that enough is enough, because he is just trying to survive, as his mother said. His life depends on the absurd desires of others, after which he screams for them to leave him alone, because he survived even if he had to crawl on his knees. But he can't even take revenge on the one who put his parents into eternal sleep. A jar of ink rolls up to the main character's feet, and she says what a mess it is there. The girl says that she doesn't need an aggressive husband, and wonders if something happened in her absence, since it seems that he is in a bad mood. The guy replies that he is not in the mood to talk to her either, so let the lady come tomorrow. The main character suggests that her sweetheart go together. The guy asks her what she's talking about, after which the lady approaches him and whispers that they are being watched, because someone is hiding behind the trees. They are not armed, so it is unlikely that they are mercenaries, and they are probably trying to find out if their marriage is real. The guy wonders if this is the Emperor's spy, and the main character whispers for her darling to relax and smile. The girl also offers to show how much they love each other, after which she grabs the guy and approaches him. The lady whispers that if he doesn't like it, then he should endure it, because she doesn't really like it either. The Duke understands that even this gentle touch did not carry a drop of feeling. After this, the man moves the lady away a little, and whispers that if he pretends, then he will pretend until the end, and there will be no way to do without a kiss. The main character says okay and kisses him. The guy also remembers how the lady told him not to be afraid because she will not fall into eternal sleep, and also that she is alive and will live. The lady also claimed that she will destroy everyone who tries to plunge him into eternal sleep. She said that she would be the first guard who would not run away, and the guy understands that he feels her soft lips and hears auditory hallucinations. But the heartbeat is louder, and the young man thinks, what if she finds out? The girl at this time tries to watch the man who is watching them, and the Duke understands that he needs to get ready because they are simply following the contract. The man wonders if he hasn't left yet, and the lady whispers that they have given up and must continue the performance. After this, the guy asks where her coat is because he said to put it on when the girl goes outside. The main character claims that she went out in it and simply gave it to the cab driver, and the guy asks why, to which the girl replies that he was staring terribly and that she will be with him for another 3 years, so she would like the servants to treat her more simply. The Duke asks if she is sure she will survive, but the girl only says that, okay, and he is not leaving, so he needs a more powerful weapon, and let his lordship undress her. The man asks if it's really happening while he's looking, and the girl replies that there's underwear underneath the dress. So, what's the problem? When he is about to answer something, the girl says that they have come across a persistent observer, so they need to convince him once and for all. The lady also lies down on the table and says how convenient it is that he tidied it up. The Duke then approaches the lady again, intending to kiss her. Well, when their lips almost touch, then the main character pushes him away and claims that the observer left, but he looked and looked so much that she was already tired of rubbing her lips. The lady also tells his lordship not to relax, because now before going to bed, they will move the table back and forth for half an hour, to which he agrees. The next morning, someone knocks on his lordship's office and asks if he is awake. The guy at this time is thinking, what is so warm? But yesterday he fell asleep in the cabin, and after that, the guy is thinking, where the blanket came from? But then he comes to and sees that he is wearing Maddie's dress. It seems that they slept separately, so the guy wonders what happened while he was sleeping. But when he looks back, he realizes that it's just a dress, but he wonders where she is. When he looks at the floor nearby, he sees a lady lying there, wrapped in a carpet. Julian says that she would have been better off covering herself, and why cover him? And then the guy tells her to wake up, but the girl doesn't react at all. The Duke asks if she will wake up if he pays extra, and the lady immediately crawls out of the carpet. The girl also says that it is perfect and let him smile like this. Julian understands that the situation was too absurd. The main character says that he looks incredibly cute, so let him go and open the door. But the main thing is not wide open. Her interlocutor says that it was good and moving the table was a good idea, because even the head butler came. Maddie replies that yes, and she did say to trust her. The man then opens the door to the courtyard and immediately addresses his lordship. The guy asks what is needed from him at such an early hour, and his interlocutor says that his lordship was getting dressed and going down to the reception room. After all, Mr. Crockton Vine had arrived. The guy understands that it seems Vine had heard about their wedding, and he would have had to introduce them sooner or later anyway, so there was nothing wrong with that. But he can't meet him like that in front of him, because he has disheveled hair and a 1,000-yard stare. He also hopes that at least Maddie will tidy herself up when he opens the door. Then he sees a guy with red hair. He immediately gets up from his seat and turns to Julian. Okay. He apologizes and claims that he was in a hurry, but he asks if it's true that he's getting married. The Duke understands that he and this guy walked hand in hand in the image of childhood itself, and went through all the hardships together in an hour. Even when his father fell into eternal sleep, and when his uncle became emperor, Crockton did not leave him. He underwent knightly training and received a title, but eventually returned to it anyway. But he did not appoint him as his knight. Despite the rare meetings between them, there were no secrets, and they shared everything with each other. However, he could not allow Crockton to face his inevitable death, and such was their relationship. At least until the news of the wedding and the man says that this is how it all happened. His interlocutor wonders if he really didn't tell him a word about it. The guy also turns to Yulikan and asks if he knows who he's been involved with. She is not just from the slums because the girl was a pickpocket, and moreover, she also committed petty thefts. The Duke replies that he knows, or even fell in love with her. The guy with red hair asks if he's serious, after which Julian realizes that Maddie is definitely a scammer. But only he saw this face. Her interlocutor wondered if the guy had remembered her and immediately smiled. But he really does love her. After which, Crockton thinks for a moment and asks if the Duke is sure that she is not deceiving him. His interlocutor notes that, of course, he does not understand that he is now deceiving Crockton. But Boris, with red hair, claims that he heard she was seen with another man. And the Duke, shocked, asks what he is talking about. He also wonders if the girl was with another man, and if she has someone else. At this time, Crockton asks if they are talking about the same girl now, and that she is a brunette with green eyes, a pickpocket and a mercenary in general, and she is known as Mad Maddie. The man realizes that everything is going wrong and wonders why he is so angry. He also wonders what this guy looks like and whether his hair is silver. His interlocutor asks why it has to be silver and why it is so specific. The guy screams that it's because the girl said that her crew is silver hair and blue eyes, and she said that he is her type. Crockton says that it has begun, and the Duke screams that it is exactly that, and this is only the beginning of the trail. And will they really betray him after promises and words about him being her type? Crockton says that the girl fooled him because she lives with another man. After which he says that, okay, she may not live with him, but she definitely drank with him. She hangs out at bars with the same guy. The guy is shocked and wonders if she really has a lover. Their relationship is of course made up, but still, it's too much. They are officially engaged, so they don't fly to cheat without hiding at all. The Duke immediately jumps up who he is, and he even introduced her to her uncle, and the Emperor knows about them. She is cheating on him. But maybe he's not even her type. And is it really possible to talk about such things at all? After which, the Duke asks if his interlocutor understands this, but he only tells the guy to drink some river water and calm down. The Duke asks what he even looks like, and his interlocutor answers that she meets him at night and no one noticed the color of her eyes. We say the states are a young man with slightly reddish hair. The Duke cries out that the weapon is copper, not silver. Crockton realizes that he feels that by the end of the day, the Duke will slander him. The guy with red hair tells his friend to think for himself, because if he had silver hair and blue eyes, it would mean that only appearance is important to her. The guy understands that she lied to him even from the type, and she is not trustworthy at all. He also claims that Maddie is a liar. His interlocutor then asks if they are really breaking up, but the Duke replies that no, and he shouldn't even hope so. The guy with red hair asks what's wrong with him, and says that, okay, he told everything, so let the Duke do what he wants, and he got involved with the wrong woman. The man claims that he loves her, and therefore believes her. His interlocutor asks if this is even true when he knows that she has another man. The Duke claims that Maddie will choose him in her mind, adding that he hopes so. The guy at this time asks what about Astrid and the Duke told her about the League, but the man from this staircase coldly addresses Crockton Vine and claims that he asked him here not to mention this name. The guys with red hair claim that he won't be able to avoid them forever, and no matter who he marries, sooner or later he will have to tell. Julian says that it is enough, and no one should know about her. The Lundin's family will end with him, and if no one finds out, it will be better. His interlocutor asks if this means that he will leave everything as is, so that he does not forget that she only has him and she misses him. The Duke then tells him to tell her that he will visit her soon. Well, when he turns around, he sees Maddie. He recalls how Crockton claimed to see this guy at night, and that he is a tall man with reddish hair. After which, the Duke understands that he needs to pretend that everything is fine, because they love each other very much. The guy asks why she is standing in the aisle. And the girl replies that it seemed to her that they had an important conversation, so she decided to wait. The Duke asks if she is speaking importantly, after which he remembers that they were talking about Astrid and he hopes that the lady did not hear anything, because that would be unfortunate. But then he realizes that he needs to stay calm and introduces his bride to Crocton. The girl then bows and greets him. The Duke tells Maddie that this is Crocton wine, and he is a knight of the Imperial Order and his close friend. Therefore, they will probably see each other often. Crocton says that they will see about this, and if the lady is smart enough, she will stay away from him. The main character smiles after this and says what a nice friendship they have. After all, the guy doesn't even wish his friend happiness, and does he really want his friend not to be loved? The girl also asks if he has already kissed his lordship and claims that she did. The guy then asks if the girl's name is Maddie and claims that she lacks upbringing and manners. The main character replies that it is true, because if she had been born into nobility, she would have become a knight and would have swung her sword a couple of times a day, and then calmly gone to bed. Her interlocutor asks if she really thinks that becoming a knight is so easy. The lady also wonders if it's not about wielding a sword and then swings it, placing it on the guy's neck. The girl also says that it's simple. The Duke screams for her to let go of the sword. The main character asks why he scolds her, because this guy started it first. The man then tells her to empty the sword because they need to talk. He also apologizes to Crocton and tells him to wait a bit. The guy realizes that he didn't even notice how she took up the sword. It seemed to slip out of the sheath right towards his throat. And this woman is not just a pickpocket. If she is Julian's bodyguard, then this will interfere with their plans. And the guy apologizes in his thoughts, and also thinks that this will not work. He also says that it would have been better for Julian to actually fall in love. When they go outside, the girl pulls her hand away, and she says that there is no one around, so let him speak already. The Duke screams what is wrong with her, because he said that this guy is his only friend. The man also screams that he doesn't care that she hates everyone she meets, but he can be more polite with Crocton. The girl says that his only friend comes to the meeting with a name on his belt. The Duke claims that he is a knight, so he is entitled to it, but the girl says that the knight skips morning training and comes with a ball but is not in shape. So what else will he come up with? The girl also says that he is too naive, which makes the Duke angry, and claims that not everyone in this world lives by lies and deceit like she does. After which, the girl claims that yes, she is a liar, because you can't argue with that. The man then turns to Maddie, and when she gets distracted, the guy tells her to sort out her personal life. She has been a duchess for 3 years, and if their contract is found out, it's the end. He also says that he doesn't care about her lovers, and the main thing is that no one knows about it. The main character asks what he is talking about. The man claims that he is talking about that red-haired young guy. The main character wonders if he is talking about him, and the guy asks if there are several of them. The girl then hits the Duke and says what a fool he is, and the guy asks what she is doing and why he is a fool. Maddie says how disgusting it is, and he fell in love, so she leaves. The man screams, "Where is she going?" And when he sees that the lady is mounting a horse, he understands that she lied to him again. After all, the girl knows how to ride a horse, and Maddie at this time says that she will do as her beloved wishes. The lady understands that she will go and deal with the source of the rumors. People understand that for the first time she allowed someone to follow her. Even if they asked the slum dwellers, no one would say that they were lovers with Knox. Most likely, Crocton Vine distorted the information, or someone sent by him was spying on it. The lady realizes that Crocton is the prime suspect, no matter what. The girl also throws a coin to one of the servants and tells him to keep the tip and pass the message to the Duke, but that he should not even think about distorting it, to which he replies that he did not intend to. The lady at this time remembers how the man spoke about Astrid and asked if he told her. Now the girl takes off the bandage from her head and says that before fulfilling his wishes, he and his friends' dirty secrets must be revealed. 2 days later, the main character looks out from behind the corner and realizes that, as expected, he is not just a knight. He is an imperial knight, but he skips morning training, and on weekdays he gets 3 bottles of milk, and on weekends only 2. This means that someone higher up allows him to skip morning training, and on weekends he goes somewhere. And before going there, he changes horses to hide this fact. At this time, the guy looks at the people who are dancing and thinks, "Are these really gypsies?" After that, he goes behind the alley. One of the men tells the girl that they don't give food there, and the main character asks if it's true. She says how cruel it is, but she wanted to eat. Her interlocutor claims that a single mother lives there, and it is not easy for her, so if she wants to eat, she should go to the neighbors, because they are generous. The main character thanks him and claims that he can keep this cloak for himself and hide at night. The main character thinks about what unusual secrets they have, and whether this mother is really a single mother, but something is fishy there. Only a noble child can be named Astrid, and since she is courting the last of the Lundin suits, it most likely belongs to his family, and the girl wonders if she is illegitimate. The lady thinks, why hide this? And about the threat to his life, he told about it no. As Julian's guard, she needs to eliminate all unknown variables, especially if Astrid is his weakness. First, she needs to make sure that she lives there. A little while later, one of the maids asks if it's already been 3 days, and when Maddie will be back. Her interlocutor replies that he doesn't know, and he thought she would cope quickly, because it wasn't for nothing that the girl asked to be distracted. Riley says that this morning, the Duke asked if Maddie had taken anything with her before leaving, and the girl screams that she is not a thief, and when they went to the boutique, the maid asked how much the girl wanted to take, and the main character asked what she was talking about, and claimed that she just needed to meet the guests, so 1 would be enough. Her interlocutor cried out, "What does that mean? Enough, because we need suits for meeting guests and for going to the imperial palace as well as a house suit, and the more the better." The main character asked if this was true, after which she apologized and claimed that she had never bought clothes. The maid screams that she was only going to buy 1 outfit and was afraid she would take too much. And how can she be suspected at all? So what a disgrace the Duke is. The woman wonders if she is insulting the Duke. And the problem is who disappeared for 3 days without saying a word. The cook then turns to the lady and says that although she is rude, she is definitely not a bad person. Last time, she asked him to take her to the slums, and when he did so, the lady asked if he had a daughter. She also claimed that the dandelion bracelet was very cute, and asked if it was she who drew the flower on his nails, and it seems that she loves her dad very much. The man asked when she had noticed this, but the girl had only taken off her cape. Then she handed it to the man and told him to give it to his daughter. The servant asked what it was for, and the girl claimed that they were both not in the best financial situation, so they should help each other, and when she was little, she herself dreamed of beautiful clothes, and they won't see each other often, so let him not look at her so angrily. The girl offered him to be friends, and even if she gets kicked out of there, she offers to end on a good note. The man claims that she may not have the best upbringing, but she has a broad soul, and the maid says that this is exactly how it is, because Maddie is a good girl. But someone else wonders if they fell for her trick. The man claims that the Duke has not eaten or slept for days, so how can they be on her side? Well, the maid claims that Maddie would not avoid, and she said that she would only leave with the Duke's permission, so she believes her. Well, the man screams that she hasn't returned yet, so isn't it clear that she went to look for a new man in the slums to fool him? Riley asks who he thinks the girl is, after which the man looked and still notices the girl in the window. The Duke is in his office at this time. He understands that the girl has been missing for more than 2 days without a message, and she could at least say where she went, but she said that she would not let him fall into eternal sleep, and that she would not run away, and would protect him until the very end. After which the guy remembers how he claimed that not everyone in this world lives by lies and deceit like she does. He also wonders if the lady has disappeared. But then he realizes that everything is not so and that it is probably due to the terms of the contract, since he asked her to stay away from other men. The guy then hits the table with his fist and screams that he doesn't care about them. Let the girl just not get caught. And why disappear without saying a word? Is she really ready to give up $1 billion? And the guy is wondering who she loves so much. At that very moment, someone knocks on his office door and addresses his lordship and says that she has returned. Well, her condition is not the best, and the man wonders if something really happened to Maddie. He sees the lady and starts to get angry. The Duke approaches her and claims that she is missing without saying a word. He also wonders who the girl Tom was dating and why she was so confused. The girl suggests that his lordship talk inside, but the man only asks if she was really with him for 3 days, and who this guy is, and why she got so angry when he said to deal with him. The Duke understands that he needs to shut up, but still claims that he said that he would give her everything. He screams that the girl promised to be with him always. She answers something that she remembers. The lady also claims that she has returned to his lordship and let him see that she is nearby. The guy understands that her eyes seem to be full of love, and he knows that she is pretending. But she doesn't understand why he's so angry, and the man tells her to warn him next time if she's leaving, even if it's for good. But the lady replies that she does not agree, and the guy screams, "What does this mean?" The girl replies that this is because she will not leave, and she will remain with his lordship from now on and forever. The guy only remains silent in response to this, and understands that this is all a lie, and also says that she can do as she knows. As he moves on, the maid approaches the mistress and says that she has never seen his lordship raise his voice like that. She also asks Maddie if everything is okay, and she thinks that he is simply in love for the first time. Another man says that he did not get enough sleep because the Duke did not sleep normally for 3 days and almost did not eat. So he became completely thin. Riley asks Maddie if everything is okay and if she should get some soup. Another worker said that they should just take a look, and the girl came, and everyone immediately wanted to help her. But he was the one making the soup. The maid claims that they have some dinner left, and the man screams that they have eaten everything, to which he replies that it means he has prepared a new one. The main character says that it's okay and she doesn't need it, after which she thanks the boss and Riley. The maid asks if Maddie is tired, and suggests that she go and rest because she will bring some water. After which, she sees the lady crying and wonders what happened, and whether it was because of his lordship's screams. The girl replies that no, and she is just happy. Someone else approaches them, and claims that the girl has been missing for a few days and has made the Duke worry, so there is nothing to be happy about. Maddie replies that she didn't think he would wait, and that no one has ever waited for her like that before. The lady claims that she didn't even know that someone might get angry if she didn't return. After all, she left and left. But if she doesn't come back, then that's fine. If she leaves, then she is forgotten. And it has always been that way. So it seemed to her that it should be that way. And when someone stays up all night waiting for her with the light on in the bedroom, that's what it's like to have someone who cares about you enough to get angry. The girl then apologizes and claims that she is not usually like this. One of the servants says that of course if she does not return, he will worry. He also turns to the chef and tells him to make soup, or at least give him the rest of the ingredients. Let him consider that they are treating the guest. But the man immediately cries out. Does he really think that the soup is enough? He claims that he will fry the meat, after which he suggests going to the dining room. Well, the main character says that she has already eaten bread, after which the maid turns to Maddie, and she claims that there will always be those who are waiting for her, to which the girl replies that it is fine, and the maid turns to the lady and asks where she has been. When the lady hesitates a little, the woman tells her to lay it out and whether she really has another man, to which the girl replies that absolutely not. And to be honest, she thought that their engagement was just a joke, but after spending a couple of days there, she realized that it was not so and wanted love. So she went to burn bridges and gave away old things and all that. If she gets kicked out, it will be shameful to stay in the city, but she is still a tramp, and if she leaves, she will go far away. The maid also wonders why people immediately think about how to leave, and didn't she see that his lordship was worried? At the same moment, someone asks what they are waiting for and suggests that they go, to which they answer that they are already on their way. When they enter the guest room, the maid tells her to sit down, but the lady claims that she does not want to eat alone and suggests that they all have dinner together. The woman claims that they don't eat there because it's a guest room. The main character says that she's not exactly a guest either, so what's the difference? The cook replies that yes, and she is not a guest because the lady is part of the family and they will always wait for her. The man is also interested in bringing the left loop and can throw out the entire cellar, but the boss tells him to drag it. The main character thinks that this is great, and the hearts of the servants now belong to her. The next day, someone is heading in a carriage, and the man asks the girl if she can handle it alone, and she answers her brother that of course, because she is also part of the Bartolo family. The girl gets out of the carriage and claims that she will carry out the order of His Majesty the Emperor alone. A little while later, Letty enters the room and tells his lordship and the Grand Duke that she is glad to meet him. The lady claims that her name is Shalomi, and that she is a member of the Bartolo County. His Majesty the Emperor ordered him to attend the imperial ball with her. The man then thinks about the Count of Bartolo and understands that the Count is the Emperor's right hand and his faithful dog. He undoubtedly had a hand in putting his father into eternal sleep, and they dare to send him his daughter without even warning him in advance. Going to the ball with her is like announcing their engagement to everyone. He also remembers the Emperor's letter and understands that this drink can be understood as the fact that he is a puppet for the rest of his life, and his opinions do not matter. Polly understands that this is the will of His Majesty, and the girl claims that a personal room, a room for listening, and 3 to 4 more should be enough for her. The girl also asks if he will introduce her to her servants, after which she approaches the Duke, and he claims that he did not ask her to be his bride and that the lady has no manners at all. So let her not hope that he will go to the ball with her and let her return from where she came. The girl is surprised by this, and the Duke understands that these faces are fuller and less confident, and this is wonderful. But at that same moment, someone else comes up to him from behind and hits him on the knees, causing him to fall. It turns out to be Maddie, and the girl picks him up and kisses him. The girl also wishes her dear good morning. Julian wonders if she has gone completely mad, but the Countess insists that this cannot be true. The Duke claims that this is his beloved, and he is sorry that the lady has come such a long way, but she should return, as she sees them having morning catch-up, so he says goodbye to her. The girl then turns around and then sees the rest of the crowd of servants running after Maddie. One of them screams where the girl went, while the other claims that she took the boss's money, so he will get her from the other world. The boss says that she was a scammer, but the maid asks what about Togo, because that doesn't make her unworthy of the Duke either. Someone else claims that scammers can also be duchesses, so their Maddie can. The butler tells Lady Bartolio that, unfortunately, his lordship said nothing more, so she had better return. The girl understands that not only this slum rat, but also the servants don't care about her. After which the lady hits the butler in the face and screams, "How dare he show her such disrespect? And does anyone in this estate know their place?" The man then apologizes and claims that the services were extremely disrespectful to her and therefore asks for mercy. The woman screams to be taken to her room because she is there by order of the Emperor. But his interlocutor once again addresses the lady and claims that his lordship has told her to leave, and his master is the Duke and not her. The girl screams, "Is the Emperor's order really less important to him? And he is not only impudent but also stupid." The man then apologizes for his impudence, but asks if she could come to them on the day of the ball. His Majesty has ordered her to attend the ball with his lordship, but at that very moment, the Countess hits the butler even harder, causing him to collapse. When the lady swings again, she screams, "How dare this pathetic butler do such a thing?" But at that very moment, someone grabs the lady by the hand, and when she is surprised, the main character turns to the lady and claims that this grandfather has a granddaughter her age. She then throws the girl's glove in her face, which surprises her. Maddie claims that she is challenging her to a duel. The etiquette teacher said that it is done like this, after which the lady with pink hair tells her to let her go. One of the maids screams for the mistress to immediately let her go, but the main character only kicks the maid, after which she pushes away the rest of the maids and takes off their gloves. She throws them at the Countess and claims that she is challenging her to a duel. Her interlocutor screams for her to stop throwing them and let her go because it hurts. The main character only tells her to accept the challenge because it is not easy for her either. The lady also turns to Grandfather Philip and asks if women on her go to duels. The man replies that it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Then the main character asks why the girl doesn't accept the challenge. And is it because she is not of noble birth and because she is not a lady? The girl with pink hair then answers that she agrees and asks to let her go. Maddie asks if this is true, and when the Countess looks at her hand, she becomes furious. She immediately hits the main character in the face and screams, "What a damn girl this is!" But at that moment, someone screams at Maddie. He also asks how she dared to do such a thing. The Countess understands that, praise be to the gods, his lordship noticed the unworthy behavior of this scoundrel. The Countess immediately cries out to his lordship and offers to look at her wrist because she is an idiot. But the man just passes by her, which shocks the girl, and when she turns around, then he sees that the Duke is wondering if Maddie is in a lot of pain. The woman replies that it is terrible because the lady did not accept the challenge to a duel and hit Philip, so her heart is simply breaking. The lady with the pink hair screams at his lordship and claims that this woman is simply crazy. She grabbed her by the wrist and dragged her around, and also knocked down her servants. The Duke then asks if this means that she hit Philip, who is practically a member of his family and his beloved. The girl replies that he simply told her to leave there and find another place to spend the night, and also did not let her pass and block the passage. The Duke wonders what's wrong, because he didn't let the girl in and the butler was simply following his master's orders. And isn't beating his beloved mercilessly a terrible disrespect for him? Let the girl go, because he won't repeat it. But his interlocutor cries out to his lordship and asks how he can drive her away, ignoring the order of His Majesty the Emperor, and what about her father? The man replies that it seems the girl has forgotten that he is a Grand Duke, and if she really wants to hang out, let her wait at the imperial palace at night. The main character also tells her darling to wait, and asks if the lady has forgotten that she accepted the challenge to a duel. The girl asks what she is talking about, and the main character says that now she will do it legally, after which she slaps the girl in the face, causing her to fly away. When she falls to the ground, Maddie claims that this is just wonderful. 20 minutes before the meeting of Maddie and Shalom, Duke was wandering around the garden and wondering where the lady had gone. He understood that it was too much, because the girl had so unexpectedly pressed and kissed him, and in front of strangers. The Duke thought that this wouldn't work, so he had to ask her to stop. There was no reason for unnecessary contact, but at that moment, someone grabbed him by the shirt. The man realized that it was Maddie, and the main character motioned for him to be quieter and claimed that she would go and tease this girl a little. Then he comes out and takes her side, after which the girl asks if he understood. The Duke tells the girl to wait, because she hasn't yet explained what happened yesterday to him. The main character asks what he is talking about, after which he asks her darling if he is still angry that she didn't come all night. The man replies that this is not the issue, because she did not warn him, and the main thing is trust. How can he be sure that the lady hasn't run away when she disappears like that? The lady claims that it's true, but she can't warn him every time. Her interlocutor replies that no, the girl can, because she should at least say why she is leaving. Maddie replies that this will do, and if she disappeared and all the jewelry is not together yet, then there is nothing to worry about, and this means that she did not run away forever. The man asks what she's talking about, and the girl wonders if he really thinks she would run away without her pockets full of jewelry. But everything in his estate that wasn't nailed down would disappear. Then Julian asks what he should do, and whether to look for the girl, to which she replies no. She also tells the guy to just wait, because she will definitely return of her own free will and be with him. So now he needs to be with her, to which he agrees. However, now the guy thinks that she said that she would only tease the Countess and not beat her. A little while later, the two enter the room, and the Duke slams the door and screams. What was the girl thinking when she hit Lady Bartolo? The main character asks what he is talking about. Because she challenged her to a duel, she agreed and hit her. Her interlocutor asks if the girl really wants to go into eternal sleep, and if she is executed for insulting a noble lady, then how is she going to marry or protect him? Or does she not need money? Maddie replies that only money is needed, so she will not go into eternal sleep. Then the man asks why she does this, and whether she even understands how bad it is. The girl claims that she just wanted to tease her, but they somehow got carried away playing, and it just happened. He will just come to her and take her to the ball, so everything will be resolved, and the girl asks if that is not so. The man asks if she is against it, and the main character asks in what sense, since this is an order from the Emperor, but her interlocutor claims that the lady is, in fact, his fiancée. And, moreover, officially declared. The girl asks what's wrong with that, because this is the easiest way to fix everything. Julian understands that after all those rumors, she draws a sharp line as if they were strangers and the man does not understand what she is thinking about, or if he is dreaming too much. When the guy opens the door, the lady asks where he is going, to which he replies that he will tell His Majesty about it, that he loves only her and will not go to the ball with Lady Bartolo. The main character is surprised by this, but she runs up to her darling and asks if he has any secrets, like a mistress or something, like that which should have been known in advance. If something suddenly comes to light, then sorting it out later will be quite a mark. Her interlocutor replies that there is nothing like that, and the girl looks at him for a bit and then says that it is excellent. She also says goodbye to him and suggests that he not fall into eternal sleep on the way. Her interlocutor then turns around and the lady, with a smile on her face, calls him her beloved once again and understands that Astrid knows how to hurt with words. A short time later, at the imperial palace, a servant states that His Majesty is ready to receive the Duke. Julian realizes that he made him wait for 2 hours and didn't even offer him tea. However, his consent is already surprising, and the servant tells his lordship the Grand Duke to come in, after which the man goes inside and sees the Emperor and the Empress there. The man says that they haven't seen Julian for a long time and he greets His Majesty. At the same time, in the Duke's estate, the main character approaches the butler. The girl asks her uncle how his face is. His interlocutor says that Lady Maddie has arrived, and the girl asks since when she is a lady and suggests addressing her as before, without formalities. The man smiles in response and asks what brought the lady to him. The girl replies that she brought 2 eggs, one for herself and one for him. For such a little thing, this countess has a powerful punch, after which she applies the egg to the blow and claims that it immediately became better. The man asks how the lady knows that he has a granddaughter her age, and the main character replies that at his age, it is not surprising to have grandchildren. Let the butlers just not say that he is not even married yet, and if so, then she asks for forgiveness. The man answers that he was married, and his wife is waiting for him in the next world, and the children have already acquired their own families. The girl also tells her uncle that she has a question, and the man says that of course, so let her ask whatever she wants. After which, the lady asks if their dear duke has another woman. The man in shock asks what she is talking about, and the girl claims that he does not tell her, but she suspects that he has someone else. The lady also claims that she wants to be prepared in advance for the inevitable separation. Her interlocutor swears to Maddie that his lordship loves only her, but the girl says that sometimes he looks thoughtfully out the window to the south, and in his sleep he keeps calling out to a person named Astrid. The girl claims that she has lived in the slums for too long, so she always sleeps very lightly, and it is a little offensive that she overheard. Even if she leaves the estate, she will still write to Uncle Philip unless he himself does not mind. After which, the man claims that this is not the Duke's mistress, but his niece. The main character screams in shock. "Isn't the Duke an only child?" And the creator asks the lady to be quiet and sit down. The girl agrees about the man claiming that the Duke has a twin sister. Maddie wonders why no one knows, since everyone says he is an only child. Her interlocutor claims that she is slightly defective from birth, and the lady screams in what? She also crushes the egg in her hand, and noticing this, he says that this too is broken. But this is such a pity. The man understands that he still has to teach and teach the mistress. He also claims that this may sound like a small thing, but for the nobility, it is not at all. After all, the girl cannot open her left palm. Even when she grew up, her hand remained as small as a baby's. After much deliberation, the parents decided that in order to protect her from this fortune, they would declare the baby dead. The imperial court agreed, and soon the news reached the most remote corners of the country. She never left the palace and lived happily with His Highness of the dear day. This is the day of Prince Hydaelyn's eternal sleep. Shortly after his eternal sleep, a fire broke out in the former crown prince's palace. The main character swears, asking why the hell this happened and what kind of coincidence is this. The girl claims that she does not believe in such things and who deliberately started the fire. The butler says that he understood the lady, and fortunately the fire was small, but it was definitely arson. Lady Dovgar had always been suspicious, so after what happened, she decided that they could find out about her daughter and send mercenaries after her. And since her existence was a secret, the lady decided to raise the baby outside the palace as an ordinary person. The main character wonders if she got married and gave birth after that. Her interlocutor replies that she probably did, and the girl asks what that means. The man claims that after she sent her daughter away, Lady Dovgar cut off all contact. She probably thought it would be safer this way, and they don't know about her future fate. But since nothing has come to light, we can assume that she's doing well. Maddie says that I am mainly interested in how the Duke knows about his niece. The man replies that he is afraid that he cannot answer, and let the lady just know that now his lordship loves only her. The girl is a little surprised by this, after which she insists that she understood and thanks him. The lady also claims that she loves his lordship as much as heaven and earth. From the day she saw him, she knew that she had to protect him. That's why now, the girl claims that she wants to give him everything she ever stole and everything she will ever steal. Even if she had to steal someone else's happiness, she would make him happy. When their eyes first met, she thought that she would protect his future. The butler smiles after this and asks her to take care of his lordship. In his thoughts, he adds that he now understands why the Duke chose her. A little while later, the man is heading out in a carriage and realizes that he seems to have overdone it. A little while ago, the emperor told Julian Coun-Londinus, who is the Grand Duke of the Londinus family, to raise his head. He is becoming more and more like the previous emperor. The man also claims that he is his son, but the grandson looks more like him, so people will like it. The Duke says he is glad His Majesty sees the positive side. The man also wonders if this is really the Emperor speaking, who executed everyone who dared to say that he was not like the previous emperor, and what kind of greeting this is. Unlike his older brother, he inherited his mother's beauty, which gave rise to many rumors. Perhaps it was because of this complex that he exterminated all sources of rumors as soon as he ascended the throne, including his own mother, who was the former Empress Dowager. A woman who could barely even walk suddenly fell into eternal sleep with her own hands. There is no evidence against the emperor. He personally has no doubts. The man also claims that he heard that His Majesty is throwing a ball. His interlocutor replies that this is exactly how they are celebrating his daughter's 14th birthday, a princess named Millie, and the guy will be visiting it after all. He is her cousin. The man answers His Majesty that, of course. However, he has a beloved, so he cannot come with the Lady Bartolo he introduced. The emperor wonders if he is talking about a girl from the slums, and this is such a nightmare. No matter how sweet this lady is, would he really risk his future duchy for the sake of a lowly cur? The Duke replies that he intends to arrange a quiet family life so as not to disgrace the name of His Majesty. The man only asks if he is really bringing home a wild animal and hoping for a peaceful life, but let him not make him laugh. The Duke clenches his fists and realizes that it seems he knows the rumors. But then, okay, because nothing else could be expected. In such situations, there is no better tactic than to be impudent like Maddie, and the guy cries out to His Majesty that his feelings for her will not disappear from his cold words, and he still loves Maddie. The man wonders if he doesn't know what it means for a duke to marry a vagabond with no pedigree. His interlocutor replies that he loves her not as a duke, but as a man, and if his father were alive, he would support his son, because he truly loves Maddie. When the emperor wants to say something else, the guy only states that he loves her, and even now misses the girl, and also does not want to be separated from her for a moment, and wants her to become his family. Meeting her changed his life, so he wants to meet old age with her. He loves Maddie with all his heart, but at that moment, the emperor cries out that this is enough. He claims that the guy is lying or not. They will figure it out later, because he is tired of listening to him. After which he orders the guards to take him out to the Duke, who cries out that even His Majesty loves the Empress very much, so he must understand him, because love is too complicated. He also asks to be allowed to love Maddie, but the emperor screams at him to get out already. A little while later, Duke and now rumors will be circulating throughout the palace. So now there is only a point left, and when the man enters the room, he tells Maddie that he is back. But he sees no one in the office, and the maid claims that she left sometime during the day. The man screams again for her to warn him in advance. At this point, the girl takes off her hat and claims that 3 hours have passed, so let the guy tell her what he found out about Montesando. Knox wonders what this prohibits on her, and the girl asks if he likes it. The Duke thought that the guy was her lover, and she thought that if he came without a disguise, the rumors would never stop. The guy then tells the lady to wait and asks if she said that he is her brother. The main character replies that no, hey. Her interlocutor screams why, and also, is she really crazy? The lady replies that they are not even blood relatives, and that at most she is his boss. But then the young man cries out, why didn't she say that he is her accomplice? Maddie asks why he is starting this, because she has already figured it out, and there will be no rumors. Knox asks if she has found a boyfriend. The lady replies that of course not, and she simply found those who started the rumors, and then put an end to them, and it's better that he doesn't know. The guy with red hair asks if he can't know that a lady's love life isn't as complicated as he thinks. The girl replies that the Duke is a very awkward person, and the more I misunderstand, the more realistic everything looks. The guy asks if she really came up with stupid reasons, and screams if she really will allow him to believe this nonsense. But he hates Maddie and even despises her. The main character at this time plunges a dagger into the table and suggests that they talk about Montesando instead. Her interlocutor cries out that it is so. The guy claims that Count Montesando was one of the few relatives who maintained contact with Julian. The rest completely cut off all ties with him after the crown prince and his wife fell into eternal sleep, and it makes sense to see that no one wants to speak out against the emperor. The girl says that Monty looks too compassionate, and the guy replies that yes, so he dug around, and it turned out that his family was on the verge of bankruptcy. The count spent all his money on bets at the racetracks, and the countess continued to spend colossal sums. But one day, out of nowhere, the financial situation stabilized. It seems that the Countess's mother went into eternal sleep and left them an inheritance, and the guy wonders if she really went into eternal sleep and left them an inheritance. The film suggests that he was a good son-in-law and took care of her. Well, the main character says that the Count did not hide his love affair with the employee of the Hippodrome, and the Countess openly cheated on him with her knight, so he was clearly not on good terms with her family. Knox asks how she knows, because he was just about to tell her, and the girl replies that this man on the knight chatters incessantly and can't even play cards. He just pretends to be tough. He didn't talk about his affair with a noble lady, and then she didn't care, so she didn't pay attention. Now the question is different, and it's about who paid off the Count's debts. Knox says that no matter how much he digs, he still can't find anything. The girl says that if he can't, it means that it was deliberately hidden, and without great power it can't be done. His colossal debt in this country can be paid off by only a few people, and it was definitely someone from the Emperor's inner circle. So they start squeezing money out of the wife, and separately putting pressure on the Count. As soon as the Emperor understands that they are useless, he will get rid of them, and without his support, their marriage will fall apart very quickly. She will start spreading rumors about the Countess's affair, and the guy wonders if she is really doing all this for permission to marry the Duke. And it seems she really loves him. The guy also wonders what he should do for now, and the girl replies that he can dress up more decently and go to the Hippodrome, and also win more. The main thing is that the Count notices this, and the guy claims that when he notices. However, the main character interrupts him and claims that he will gain his trust and teach him the secrets of betting. She will let him win a couple of gold coins and transfer him to underground betting, but her interlocutor is interested in whether the lady really thinks that he will agree. The main character claims that a gambling addict will never stop playing as long as he has hands, of course. Her interlocutor claims that he hasn't divorced the nobility for so long. A couple of days later, the Countess screams when they will be released. She also tells the servant to leave because she herself will go. The girl understands that she must come with the Duke, but he left without even greeting her. The lady thinks how one can so brazenly ignore the order of His Majesty, and now her brother who lured her there is late because of work. So how unbearable are these two? After which the girl thinks that, okay, and if she finds him now, she can enter with him. At the same moment, the girl sees the Duke's carriage, after which she turns to his lordship. But then she sees Maddie getting out of the carriage and wonders if she really came with him. The main character then turns to her sweetheart and whispers that she already wants to escape from there. The man replies that then her face will be on wanted posters in every corner of the empire, and the lady claims that it is funny. The Duke says that if she thinks he's joking, then let her go and try. The Countess clenches her fists and understands that coming to a ball in such a bright outfit, where the main star should be the princess, is stupid. Well, then the girl thinks that it doesn't matter because the main thing now is to go with the Duke. After which, she turns to his lordship and asks if he has come. If so, then it is so fortunate, and the girl offers him to go. The Duke asks what she is talking about, and suggests that she just not say that she was waiting for him because he did not agree. His partner is Maddie, after which he even invites her to go. The Countess cries out to His Highness and asserts that His Majesty had ordered her to go with him, but the man asks what the inserts are, because his partner is still Maddie, and if she wants, she can enter with them. The Countess cries out, "Does he really mean to say that he will enter with this tramp?" She also tells his lordship that to insult her like that is to insult the entire Bartolo family. And he also hit her, so if she tells about it, there won't be a scandal. The man asks if she is talking about Count Bartolo. He is the Grand Duke and the Emperor's only nephew. So does she really think that the daughter of some count could be so rude to him? If she does not want to disobey the Emperor's order, then let her go for them. But let her not expect more. The girl turns around and sees that people are looking at her, after which she turns to the Duke. The man standing at the entrance claims that entry without an invitation is prohibited. The Duke asks if it is even his love, and the main character tells his lordship that nothing can be done, and she will wait for him in the carriage. The man wants to object, but the lady just runs away and screams for him to enjoy the ball. When she runs past the lady, she immediately tosses her hair, and she claims that this is a class wall, and the girl can't break it. The main character then screams that everything is exactly like that, because it's an insurmountable social gap and it's terrible, after which she runs away with tears in her eyes and claims that there is such a big status gap between them. Well, she also turns to his lordship and claims that they love each other so much. The girl says that she will stay and wait only for him, even if he leaves her. The man immediately runs to Maddie and screams that he will never leave her. No matter what happens, they will be together forever, even if she tries to leave, because he will be with her until the very end. The girl turns to his lordship, and as he approaches her closer and closer, then the Countess pulls him away and cries out to the Grand Duke of London that this is too much, so she suggests going inside. The Duke screams for Maddie to wait for him, and he will return soon and will not look at anyone else, after which he leaves altogether. People passing by look at the girl and wonder who this lonely lady is. Someone else asks what they themselves think, because this is a girl from the slums who is going to marry a great duke. Her interlocutor claims that she is beautiful, and the story of a poor girl from the slums and a lonely duke is so romantic. The main character, hearing all this, just smiles, and the duke is in the hall at this time. When they bring him a glass, he simply refuses, and one of the servants asks if he doesn't eat. Another servant replies that yes, and he didn't even take a sip of water. One of the ladies asks what's wrong with his lordship, and the other replies that they say the lady who came with him wasn't allowed in, saying there was no invitation. The noblewoman asks if she is talking about that girl from the slums, and if Lady Bartolo dragged him in. How strong is their love if he refuses Bartolo's favor? At that moment, someone turns to Brother Ulicon. The man realizes that this is the only daughter of Emperor Laphadite Paragon Lons, and also his cousin, Princess Millie. The man congratulates her on her birthday, and the girl thanks him, after which an awkward silence hangs between them, and the lady states that she will go then. After which the girl approaches the emperor, and he asks her how her conversation with her brother went. The girl replies that he looks unwell, and that he is somehow pale and tired. The emperor says that it is clear, and the girl missed him so much, so she is probably offended. He also claims that he will arrange a meeting for them and agrees to something. The empress tells her daughter that today is her birthday, so she offers to greet those who came to celebrate. The emperor thinks about Ulicon and wonders if he really wasn't joking. The duke smiles at this time and understands that Maddie was right, because at the end of this ball, people will remember something completely different from the holiday. Lady Bartolo's debut with the Grand Duke will also be ignored. Only her love story with Maddie. Rumors will spread throughout high society, acquiring new details. Maddie expressed herself rudely, but after her speech at the entrance to the palace, everything worked out. But at that very moment, someone approaches his lordship, and when he asks what happened, his interlocutor claims that the lady he came with was grabbed and not let go by some man. The Duke is surprised by this, and a little while later, he breaks out into the street. The guy understands that he needs to find a lady quickly, because if he can't, then this guy will be finished. At this time, the main character is next to some guy, and he wonders if she was really alive. Maddie asks who he is, and claims that he seems to have confused her with someone else, but her interlocutor only smiles and asserts that this means she really was alive. He thanks the Lord and claims that he believed that the lady was alive. He really believed and never doubted that she would return to him, but when he realized that he had lost the lady, how much it hurt him. The main character only swears after this and asks what kind of pervert he is. The man replies that his name is Yan and calls the girl Lambda. The main character then remembers her childhood. She wonders what these memories are, but at that moment, someone grabs the guy by the hand, and he tells this idiot to take his hands off her. Jan is surprised by this, and the Duke claims that the guy dared to pester his beloved, and even if it was a mistake, he would not forgive. But today, he will let him live, so let the guy go. Julian also suggests the lady to return. When the main character turns to this guy, he only tells her once again to come back. A little while later, they are already heading in a carriage, and the girl asks who that man was. Her interlocutor asks if he shouldn't be the one asking, and who this idiot was. The main character says that you just need to look, because her darling can flare up too. But the man just gets angry, and claims that the lady said that she had sorted everything out. The girl turns to His Highness and offers to clarify this point, since she seriously does not know him. She was just returning to the crew and accidentally bumped into him, but he mistook her for someone else and suddenly grabbed her hand. The girl couldn't slap him on the spot, so she just played with him. He opened the carriage door himself and tidied himself up, so she thinks he is not a nobleman. But when the lady looks at the Duke's face, she asks if he believes her. Julian claims that she never told the truth, so how can he believe her if she lies all the time? The lady claims that there is some truth in this, after which silence falls between them. The man wonders how many men she has in general, and it seems he won't just leave it at that. He should also dig a little into Maddie's past. At this time, the main character is thinking whether the Duke himself is pure, because he even has a hidden nephew, so let him hold on. She finds out everything he hides from her down to the last detail. A week later, the girl is already near Knox. She also asks the guy if he is doing everything as she ordered in the Montesando case. The young man replies that today, he spent the whole day in a gambling house again. This idiot holds cards so badly that it can't get any worse, and he didn't do it on purpose, because there's something wrong with him. Last time, he even lost his bets, and the guy asks if she can even imagine that. The girl asks how about that knight who is having an affair playing blue, and whether he checked it and what was the reaction. The guy replies that rumors have spread around the area, and he realized that now he won't be able to move to another order. They say that he will soon be fired, and he is wandering around everywhere. The girl claims that it looks like it's time to throw the bait there too. She also claims that the guy did a great job, and he's a good guy. Knox at this time asks the girl why she changed her clothes again and where she is going. The main character answers that she needs to do something important for her dear one. Knox shows his displeasure, and the lady turns to the guy and asks if he knows a lambda with black hair and red eyes. This slippery guy looks like a snake. She met him on the floor of the palace, and he seemed to know her. The young man wonders if he knows the lady, and she doesn't know him, and then the answer is obvious. He also wonders if this is one of the imperial guards of London's, or even a cop from the other side. The main character at this time understands that something is popping up in her memory. No matter how much she thinks, she still doesn't know the guy. The lady also asks what difference does it make who he is, because he is just a fat little thing and she needs to work. As the lady walks down the street, she approaches one house and realizes that Astrid is there. Last time she took too long and didn't have time to find out more. The girl who handed her the bread when she was about to leave. That hair and eyes definitely belong to the London's family. Maddie claims that she thinks her boyfriend was sure that he hid everything well, after which she asks for forgiveness for the fact that she started digging without permission. But when you examine even the color of your diapers and underwear, you understand that if you leave it like this, his favorite nephew could become a very dangerous weakness. And Maddie can't stand that kind of hassle. So she asks her sweetheart to forgive her if she finds out in advance. Crookton Baynil, a bastard who pretends to be a friend. Crookton watched Astrid in that place and then met the one-eyed man who was watching her. And he told him in detail about Astrid's condition. The guy received a generous reward for this and left. The maid said that he leaves every week on weekends, which means he leaks information about Astrid every weekend. The lady understands that Crookton is dangerous for Julian in the long run. Well, the time to deal with him will come, it's just not the time now. The girl looks around and realizes that it seems there is nothing suspicious nearby. The main character wonders if he really decided to entrust information about Astrid's location only to Crookton out of fear of a leak. The girl also thinks what a sweet fool she is because he got caught like that. The lady takes out her shoes and some object, after which he breaks down the door and claims that it is too much to so carelessly hide a secret that we do not want to tell anyone. But then, the lady sees someone else in front of her and claims that there is another guest there besides her. Meanwhile, in the slums, someone knocks on one of the houses. An old woman opens the door and tells him to come. After all, they say that he needs help. It turns out that it is Knox undercover. The guest asks if she really is like that, the one who ran like the wind in her youth. But she doesn't look so good now. The old woman replies that she is only taking orders, and her interlocutor claims that he wants her to find out something. He doesn't know her age exactly, and the guy is wondering if this is really a problem because he just wants to understand what she's been living with all this time. The old lady replies that of course it's a trifle, because they find missing people in 2 bills. The main thing is payment. The man throws a bag of money on the table and claims that if she does everything right, he will pay twice as much. The old woman is happy after this and tells him to just say something and they will find anyone. But the man claims that her name is Maddie. She is known as the current lover of the Duke of Londoness. He wants to know more about her past, after which the woman says that this is how it is, but she wonders who he is to her. The man then takes off his hood, and he claims that his name is Ulicon Kun Londinus, and he is her fiancé. Even lovers cannot know each other's past, so he had to resort to such a pathetic method, and he asks her to understand him. The old woman is shocked by this, and the Duke asks if she is okay. His interlocutor claims that she will do everything possible, or better to say they're young guys from the organization, because they will figure everything out. But she also tells His Highness that something is very troubling her. He also asks, what if Maddie is a thief with violent tendencies? She is greedy for money, drinks like crazy, and is generally questionable personally, and also whether he will then break off the engagement. When the Duke looks at his interlocutor in bewilderment, he says that if she loves money, it means she has a strong survival instinct, and if she has dexterous hands, it means she has a good reaction. If she drinks like water, then maybe she just has a strong liver, and maybe the girl is a golden person. He also claims that the Duke's decision was certainly not so easy, because marriage is not at all easy, and she's just trying to say that if he finds out her whole past, will he really decide to end the relationship? The man understands that even if he were not an idiot, it is already obvious, because this man is dressed as an old man. He is an acquaintance of Maddie, after which the Duke claims that there is true love between him and Maddie. He just wants to know the truth that the girl doesn't dare tell him, and if she is in pain, he wants to share it with her. His interlocutor says that they will be blessed because such a woman will not be found again. This is of course not praise, but if they still get married, then this is already something. Although he does not know if it is her at all, maybe it is not Maddie at all. The man then claims that it seems that this man knows Maddie, but she must not find out about this under any circumstances, and if he wants more money, the Duke will give it to him. Knox then smiles and claims that they should leave it to him. The guy also cries out that he will find out everything he knows and even what he didn't know. The Duke claims that there is no need to look for him because he will return in 10 days, after which Knox asks if he will return in person and wonders how such a good man can marry Maddie's sister. He knows everything about Maddie better than anyone in the area, so he shouldn't worry and come get information. The Duke realizes that among Maddie's acquaintances, there is such a transparent person, and it is quite funny. As he moves on, he thinks that he wonders if Maddie is staying overnight away from home again, but he didn't see her when he left. After which, he thinks, where is she? And what is she doing now? The main character at this time finishes with the man who was in the house, and tells the uncle that he really has enough strength. When the lady settles this guy, she realizes that he is dressed strangely for a security guard, and his style is too cheeky. The girl also thinks that it's very good that she quickly tightened up early. Otherwise, if he had seen it, he would have definitely fainted. This is absolutely not his style, and the girl wonders if this is the work of Crookton Ito the One-Eyed. He spoke for a long time, even after receiving the money, and she had previously suspected, but if they were planning something. The lady takes out a dagger and asks if he dared to attack before her. As if she didn't already have enough internal torment, the girl turns to the man behind her, who throws a dagger at him and claims that it's just annoying. Maddie also wonders if he's weaker than the first one, and only when he's strong is it nice to destroy, so she's disappointed. The lady claims that the dagger is no longer useful, after which she takes a shard of glass. When the girl bursts into the next room, the mercenaries there scream who she is. Maddie, looking at the child, realizes that she has finally met Astrid. At the same moment, the main character says that this is terrible and claims that she wanted to say it first and missed the moment. One of the men asks if the girl is some kind of demon. Another whispers to his interlocutor whether this is a double order, and he in response asks whether they have been lured into a trap. The man claims that they were told to put only this woman into eternal sleep, to avoid destroying the house, and then no one would interfere. After which the man said that it didn't matter from the very beginning that it was not worth believing this one-eyed man because it was all suspicious. The main character, looking at the girl's hands, understands that they are fine, which means she was wrong. She was wondering whether to send Julian's sister and niece to another place, or to help them change their identity. But the sister has already fallen into eternal sleep, and the girl thinks when it happened. It is impossible to leave a child alone without parents, and if you hide it poorly, the customer may get angry. If he loses his last relative, that is, his niece, then Yulikan will be broken, and perhaps he will suffer so much that he will never rise again. Because, despite his appearance, he is very afraid of loneliness. The girl also thinks that if he loses the will to live and terminates the contract, then only she will suffer, after which the girl waves to the baby and asks if her name is Astrid. She is so similar to one person she knows and does not understand the main game that she needs help, and also claims that the aunt is not scary, after which they offer to go with her. After all, her aunt will become her new mother, and the girl understands that they need to take care of each other. This is the essence of marriage. The woman nearby then screams that she is the mother of this child, and the main character replies that if she didn't answer, she would just be a nanny. At this time, one of the mercenaries screams that they will simply complete the tasks and leave, and they will put the nanny into eternal sleep, and also take only the child, so let her do her job too. The main character says how kind he is because she wanted to know their plan, and he told her everything himself. The man understands that this is just a crazy woman, but Maddie asks what now, because they won't get out of there alive because it's her job. The two are surprised, and one of them screams that he doesn't know on whose orders the girl came. But does she really think that they will just retreat like that? The main character turns to the uncle and claims that he has 5 moles on his hand, and that this is the sign of the Harubin gang. When idiots like them arrange the kidnapping of children, then the elder Harubin receives the money from them, and the man in shock asks if she really knows the elder Harubin. The girl replies that of course she knows, and didn't she say that her task was not to let them out of there, and how does he think why she came there? After all, they did it without the boss's knowledge for money. When the ladies run past the nanny, they whisper for her to close the child's eyes and run there. Then the girl hits the criminals, and the nanny runs away. One of them swings a dagger, but the girl grabs his hand and then deals with them. A little while later, the girl says that everything is ready, and now we can go. But when the nanny turns around, she screams that these are the mercenaries' clothes. Maddie suggests that they calm down, because the clothes had to be changed because the old ones got spoiled, and she came on the master's orders. Although in her thoughts, the girl adds that this is also a lie. Maddie claims that she was told to protect the two of them in case of an emergency. The woman asks what she is talking about and why Mr. Crockton himself did not come. Maddie understands that this is interesting because it turns out that it is not Julian who is called Mr. Crockton, but Crockton. It is suspicious that in such a situation, the child was left without supervision, which means that the nanny was also set up by Crockton. It was no wonder that even in the room there was an anxious atmosphere, and the child's condition was also bad. The nanny asks if Mr. Crockton prepared in advance to avoid problems like it happened recently. Maddie replies that everything is correct, and the girl understands what it means that he even foresaw the attack of mercenaries, so she does not consider her immersion in eternal sleep something unexpected. The nanny immediately gets up and screams what kind of mistake happened, because she was only told that no matter what happens, she should not leave this mansion. The main character claims that this is very strange, because shouldn't the child come first for a nanny? Really, if not just robbers but even assassins attack, then you still can't go out. The girl asks if the owner himself will come to save them. Not only did they abuse the child, but now they are ready to risk their lives for the nanny in such a situation. After which the main character knocks out the woman and claims that they must have a very patient owner. Maddie claims that she must be very tired because she already fell asleep. The girl understands that after saving Astrid, they probably decided to move her to a safer place, fearing an attack by the assassins, and after they had alarmed Julian, they would have hidden Astrid even more securely. Perhaps they would even hide it where the Duke himself could not find it, so that they could then hold him by the throat and blackmail him with it. Well, did they really intend to put the nanny who had taken care of this child for so many years right before his eyes into eternal sleep? The girl wonders if they have gone crazy. After they instill fear in Astrid, they seem to want to completely subjugate her with it. After all, fear is the easiest way to make a person obey. At that very moment, memories begin to appear in the girl's head. In one of them, she screams that she doesn't want and won't eat it anymore. Maddie thinks what just happened, and it's some kind of strange memory, after which the lady looks at the child in front of her and thinks what idiots these people are. How could they raise their hand against such a small child? The girl extends her hand to Astrid and claims that she is the one who came to save her, and asks if they will leave from there. That girl asks how old she is and is she really 5? After which the child smears and shows on his little fingers that she is already 7 years old. The main character tells the girl not to be afraid because she is Uncle Julian's friend and came to protect her, and until the girl herself does not allow it, she will not even touch her. Maddie claims that she seems to be a girl of few words, and if she doesn't want to talk, then let her just dump her, and when she does that, then the girl says what a smart wife she is. She also claims that she will only ask one question, and claims that the lady has scars on her palms and legs, and it is so cold outside and she is dressed too lightly. After which, the main character wonders if this nanny really treated her like that. She also wonders if she was accidentally told to say no if asked something like that. When Maddie sees the baby's reaction, she says that it is clear, and then she asks differently. The girl asks if the baby wants to wait there until the nanny wakes up, or she will go with her, and they will read fairy tales together. The girl will only be shocked by this, and the main character will wonder what it is. And is she really surprised that her aunt guessed what she was thinking about? In fact, her aunt is a psychic, and even if the baby doesn't say a word, she can still hear her thoughts, and she's just thinking very loudly. Here she appeared, hearing how she screams in her soul, "Help!" After which the girl asks, does Astrid want to leave the house for the first time in a long time? The girl then remembers a man with red hair. He told her that people shouldn't find out about her because it's the only way to survive. The nanny claimed that she had told her not to look out the window, and now, when the little girl looks at the main character, she only says that the girl wasn't afraid here because her aunt would hug her. Astrid immediately extends her arms in response, and when Maddie hugs her, she says how lovely she is, and wonders where such a beauty came from. Maddie also wonders if she saw it, because her aunt is very strong. So let her not worry, and let her just hold on tightly and trust her aunt. After all, she will take care of everything. After which, the main character invites Astrid to play a role-playing game. A little while later, in some luxury hotel, a worker approaches General Sviton, and he wonders if he has arrived. After which, he also asks if he can be helped with his luggage. The worker claims that the clothes he ordered are already hanging in the room, and the man thanks him. He hands over the money and claims that breakfast is not needed tomorrow because he wants to rest in silence, to which he agrees. When a man enters a room, he takes off his wig and thinks what kind of a slowpoke this is, and yet, finally, Count Montenegin took the bait. He wanted to pretend that he accidentally dropped his bets on the races, but the man had not appeared at the racetrack for a whole week and he was quite scared. When he finally showed up again today, the guy could barely restrain himself from hugging him and spinning with joy. The man told him to bet on Lily, Turbam, and Buzz in that order today, and he would definitely raise at least 1,000 Tylons. The Count was scared by this, and the guy understands that, judging by his reaction, he has most likely already lost all 1,000 Tylons that he won on his bets. It seems that this is why he avoided him, and in the end, he listened to him and hit the jackpot. It was a feeling that was hard to forget, and the man claimed that it was truly amazing. When he turned around, he saw that his interlocutor was already heading out into the street, after which he went after him, and when he turned to the gentleman, he asked if he would at least introduce himself. After which, the Count introduced himself, and his interlocutor apologized for not introducing himself right away. He claimed his name was Marsh Swithian. The Count knew he had never heard such a name, and his interlocutor said that he came from Pergia across the sea, so it is not surprising that he does not recognize him. The man then claimed that even the name of the country sounds noble. He understood that the guy was wearing a custom-made suit made of expensive fabric, and, as expected, he was not mistaken about people. After all, this is a guy who knows a lot about wealth. Knox claimed that he came at the invitation of a friend about 2 months ago, but his interlocutor claimed that the young man already understands the charm of racing, and it is so interesting. Knox claimed that he didn't really know anything about horse racing, and rather that he just liked to bet. The guy also claimed that when they saw each other last time, he left the coupon in its place, and he asked if the Count had seen it. The man then asked if he was talking about the coupon, and a little excited, replied that he had gone out right after the guy, so he hadn't seen it. He also understands that he has to deny everything because his wife won't forgive him if he doesn't return the money he spent on his daughter's birthday. Knox says that there's nothing you can do about it because in the end, it's not that much money. The Count claimed that 1,000 Tylons was a whole decent harness, and his interlocutor claimed that even if someone took it, he hoped that this person spent it usefully, and for a person like him, this is not so important. The Count then asked what a man like him meant, and Knox turned to him with a smile on his face, and he claimed that this is a man who always wins. The guy understands that now the Count, having lost his head, will run to his mistress from the hippodrome to find out more about him, but he doesn't even guess in his sleep that he knows about their relationship. The guy came specifically only on those days when the Count's mistress worked and won money. Without knowing that he bribed jockeys and even horses to arrange a fake victory, he will believe him unconditionally. Seeing his face, The guy realized that he had already partially fallen for the hook, and when he collected all the rumors about Sweden that he himself had come up with, he would trust him even more. Maddie was talking about. But when the guy opens the door, he is surprised because he sees Maddie in front of him with a child in her arms. He asks in shock, "What is this?" This child is the spitting image of his lordship, and this can't be. The main character tells Astrid to say hello because it's Uncle Knox. The guy asks if sister has already given birth to the Duke's child, but Maddie suggests that he stop talking nonsense and close the door and come in, and now everyone will watch. When the young man enters the room, he says that the child is already quite big and asks since when she and the Duke have been dating, and also how she could hide this even from him. Maddie tells Astrid to play with this guy, and if he does something weird, she should bite him right away. Knox asks if they really think he's going to hurt her. The main character says that she will return for her before sunrise, and says that it is true. And she will also return with Uncle Julian, and also promises this on her little finger. After which, the girl also extends her little finger. And the main character, looking at her, asks how one can be so beautiful. The girl also turns to Knox and claims that the child is not very talkative, so he should not stop talking too much. The guy just screams, "Is Julian really his uncle, and is this not their common child?" He asks his sister what is going on, and is she seriously leaving like that without a single explanation? Well, the girl just slams the door, and the guy claims that she really did leave. Knox greets the baby and states that his name is Uncle Knox, and that he is also pleased to meet her. The guy also asks if she will tell him what happened. The Duke is sitting in his office at this time, and understands that Knox has had a lot of work these last few days. Maddie said that if you want to seem like a slacker, then drop everything, but in reality, it's better to rule the residence like a spoiled bastard. He also recalls how someone claimed that they were born into the imperial family not because they were good. They became nobles to do good deeds, and must feel responsible for many lives. The boy asked if they needed to feel responsible for everyone, and what if it was too heavy? He also told his father that the puppy was too heavy. The man claimed that of course life is hard, because their puppies and people are all alive. The weight of any life is the same. And the guy then asked what his dad does for a living, and he replied that he is the crown prince. But is that really a job too? The man replied that, of course this is an appointment, which means that both dad and grandfather have a responsibility for this country. They have a duty to protect others and share happiness. The guy asked if it was a duty, and his interlocutor replied that yes, and that this is what they are obliged to do because it is their duty. Now the man looks at the papers on his desk and also understands that it looks like he won't be able to sleep normally again today. But to tell the truth, there is nothing particularly important when the guy looks around the room. He remembers how the girl happily went there greeting her sweetheart. She also ate there and said that it was delicious, and also asked if he had an article about them in the newspaper. But now the room is completely empty, and it is impossible to sleep in this state. The Duke wonders if Maddie won't return today either, but 3 days have already passed since the man turns to Philip, and when he responds, he claims that Miss Maddie has not yet returned. He also hands the gentleman some tea and claims that this is his 49th question. One more and it will be 50, so maybe that's enough for today and he can rest. There are no urgent matters anyway. The Duke drinks his tea in irritation and tells Philip that he honestly doesn't understand why Maddie goes out for the night and doesn't say anything. Is it so hard to say that she's going out and say when she'll be back, or that she'll be late? He also recalls how the girl told his lordship that she was not going to leave and would stay by his side forever. The guy thinks about what exactly will not leave him and what exactly will stay with him forever. The butler turns to His Highness and says that he didn't sleep yesterday either. "Mrs. Maddie, I also probably want him to get a good night's sleep." And the guy understands that if Maddie is so perceptive and observant, she would have immediately understood that he hadn't slept all night. But the lady will never know that he didn't sleep because he was waiting for her. The guy understands that he was not worried as a scoundrel or a fake groom. He was worried like someone who genuinely cares about a person named Maddie. He wanted her to understand this. When the Duke goes to bed, he realizes that lately after breakfast and a walk, she disappears somewhere, so that they haven't even had time to talk alone. Julian wonders what she's so busy with, after which the guy closes his eyes. A little while later, he begins to feel something strange, and when he opens his eyes, he screams what is going on, and the main characters claim that he made her laugh. The Duke asks if she even knows where she's breaking into, and tells her to take her hands off. The main character is only interested in whether he really sleeps in such pajamas, and can add a clause to the terms of their contract that they do everything that spouses do. The Duke immediately covers his chest and screams at her to stop talking nonsense and go to her room because does she even know what day it is today? And why did she barge in without warning and hide in his bed anyway? Maddie claims that he speaks as if she had come earlier, they would have already had a wedding. The man then claims that everything is bad, and when the lady asks why, then he claims that he has a similar arrhythmia. Julian wonders why his heart is beating so wildly. The main character only asks since when is he a doctor, and does he really think that he is Hercules, since he diagnoses himself? Her interlocutor claims that he is not Hercules, but Hippocrates, and in general, it is not important. Duke thinks he has PTSD, and it's because he saw Maddie being put into a human's eternal sleep, and now he has PTSD. That's why every time he sees Maddie, his heart pounds like crazy. The lady at this time tells him to stop confusing hippo and imp, but she actually wanted to say something. The man at the same moment screams out, "What does impotence have to do with it?" And the main character wonders why he got so worked up, because this is not about him. What to do? Because last time he shook the bed 4 times and the empty cart rattled louder. The Duke asks what she is carrying, and he can't show it to her. But the girl only screams that an empty cart is passing by and it is rattling. The man claims that when she finds out the truth, she will be shocked and run away herself. But the lady only smiles in response. A little while later, they are already sitting on the floor, and the guy understands that at first she made him worry and then only fool around. But still, when he is next to Maddie, he is most calm, and even such stupid conversations are possible. He is always so reserved and serious, and even when he behaved like a hooligan, he always thought that he should not relax. Maddie claims that she met his niece, and she is so cute. The Duke first asks what she is talking about, but then, in shock, he thinks that she really said something about her niece, after which he asks again what she was talking about. The man tells the girl to repeat it again and asks who she met. Maddie claims that she does say that she met Astrid, and she talks about his weak spot. The lady also asks the esteemed client how he can so carelessly leave his weak spot, and what if someone finds out and uses it against him. The man asks what she did, and the lady replies that she simply fixed everything so that no one would take advantage of it. The Duke asks if she really has such a hobby as picking out other people's weaknesses and rocking people's buttons, because it's so mean and petty. The girl turns to her dear one and says that if he is angry only at her, then she is offended because now they both hold each other by the weak spot. The lady realizes that she reported to the patrol and they are looking for witnesses and the criminal. The Duke cries out that she did this in case she decides to run away, and his weak spot is already her. Since he made her a public proposal, the lady has become his weakness. The main character takes the dear one by the hands and claims that it is not so. They made a contract risking their lives, and the girl asks if it is not so. So there shouldn't be a secret between them, and how can he hide from his bride that he has a niece? The man said that the girl shouldn't make him laugh. And even if she really was his fiancée, does the girl really think that he would tell her about Astrid? He is not so stupid as to introduce his niece to a fraud. The lady asks if it is true. Then why did he just let his precious niece into the house? Anyone could easily get in. The man screams, did she really touch her? And does the girl even know who she is, and also understands how difficult it was for him to protect her? After which, he presses the lady to the floor and claims that he wanted her to live not like him, as if she was being haunted by immersion in eternal sleep, and he wanted to give her a peaceful life. The man also asks if she has fallen into eternal sleep, and the lady replies that she has not. After all, she hid it, and she thinks that he is not in a disadvantageous place, and he spent so much money to survive. The girl also wonders if his real goal is to protect his niece. Her interlocutor wonders if the girl is serious, because she conducted an investigation just to find out, and is now checking him out. Maddie claims that she just became curious about what he is hiding so carefully. The man looks menacingly at the lady and wonders if she always acts like this. He suspects, digs, because of weaknesses and checks by asking questions. The Duke asks if this is really her style, And the girl replies that, yes, and this is her style because you can't trust anyone. Who knows what he will do behind her back, even if he cries in front of her eyes. She will check everything with her own hands, and only in this way can she be sure, because this is her working method. The man understands that, of course, for Maddie, it's just a job. The lady at this time turns to the dear and claims that if he wants to see his niece, then he gets ready on the train as soon as possible. Because for her hothouse flower, this could be a shocking story, so let him gather his courage. A little while later, they are already riding a horse, and the Duke asks if the girl is really saying that Astrid was raped. Maddie replies that yes, in such cold weather she was only wearing a light dress, and her palms and calves were covered in scars from the rods. The girl thinks that they threatened to put her into eternal sleep, so they just pretended that everything was fine, and even beat her with a thin stick so that no traces would be visible. The man menacingly asks how they dared, because they even used the warnings about the visit for their own purposes, and it's so disgusting. Maddie replies that it was that window that was the problem. Even worse than the violence, when she arrived, there were already uninvited guests in the mansion, and they were holding the nanny and Astrid hostage. But she quickly settled everything, so there is nothing to worry about. The man asks if she finds it funny to talk about putting people into eternal sleep. Maddie replies that it's fun because she did it. The Duke asks what he's talking about, and the lady, with a smile on her face, replies that she protected his weakness. Moreover, it was a hidden weakness, but she found it and protected it, and the task was completed perfectly. Maddie claims that she is just smart, so let him write it down. Julian claims that he did not assign her this, and it would have been solved without her. Maddie claims that a real pro helps even with things that the client himself does not realize, and she can solve the very root cause. The girl says that she doesn't just solve problems in the alleys, and that she's not some kind of disposed person. The Duke asks if she said that she was disposed of, and that this is some kind of nonsense. After all, it's not recycled, and you don't say things like that to people. Maddie claims she doesn't understand what he's talking about. The Duke says okay, but the lady wonders what it was, and whether she simply misspoke. But why does the word utilization even appear there? Then the man asks what happened to the nanny, and whether she brought Astrid with that nanny. The main character replies that no, and she probably went into eternal sleep. The girl wonders why she should do that because Crockton himself would have put her into eternal sleep. Julian replies that this cannot be, because it was he who brought the nanny, and even if he found out about the violence, he is not one of those who plunge into eternal sleep in the heat of the moment. The girl claims that their sweetheart is really a fool. Does he really still blindly believe his friend? Well, he said the nanny was brought by Crockton, but is that all? When the mercenaries broke into the house, the nanny did not run away with Astrid. She simply waited for Crockton to come and save her, even if we ignore the fact that a nanny is obliged, first and foremost, to protect the child. But did she really, seriously expect to be saved by a man who only shows up on weekends? And now they can move on to the most interesting part. She interrogated one of the mercenaries and found out where the contact with the one who hired them was supposed to take place. And who does he think ended up in the place where she came under the guise of a mercenary for payment? The girl claims that everything is correct because he was deceived all this time. And last night, when the girl came for payment, there was a guy with red hair, or a lady who claims that he was being deceived in a play that was performed by his closest friend. Yesterday at dawn, the girl turned to Astrid and insisted that now she had to look sad and let the girl repeat after her. After which, the main character showed sadness, and then the girl did so. Maddie looked at her face and claimed that the baby plays well. She also suggested that Astrid open a business with her aunt later. The woman claimed that now the role-playing game begins, and that she is a very scary person, and the baby is a very good girl, so it was as if she was scared because she was kidnapped by a scary man. She will close her eyes for a minute and let the girl count to 100, and count the moment she will be left alone, and she will soon return for her. A little while ago, the girl asked where the meeting with the one who sent them there was supposed to take place, where they were supposed to receive the remaining payment for the task. The man answered that it was Caldiron Street, 3rd Lane, and when the girl entered it, she understood that it was time to start the performance. Then the lady approached the man with red hair and told him to hand over the payment. Now the man understands what the nanny was talking about and holds a note in his hands that if he wants to get his child back, he should come to the meeting place with an amount 3 times greater than the promised one. The man also wonders who it was, and the nanny asks if these weren't the people sent by Mr. Crockton. Then, she also wonders if she was from another organization, and they say that the senior in the organization sent her to deal with those who took the task without permission. And she lied to her that she was sent by Crockton. The man says that it means that someone hid behind the name of the boss and plunged the mercenaries into eternal sleep, after which he took Astrid to take everything for himself. The woman replied that it was all true, but before she could finish speaking, the man plunged her into eternal sleep. He understands that personally spilling the red liquid is unpleasant, but if he conveys that the nanny was put into eternal sleep by a mercenary, then everything will go according to plan, and Julian will still not suspect anything. Now he claims that he doesn't care whether they split the money or someone took it all for themselves. But isn't the main thing to finish the job? Maddie says what difference does it make how exactly the child was delivered? The man examining the girl realizes that he was worried because she was not saying anything. But fortunately, there are no visible injuries. He also turned to Astrid and told her to go there. The girl understood that it was Uncle Crockton's voice, after which she ran to him, and the man threw a bag of money and said that this was payment. He also asked if the mercenary wouldn't even check, since she said to bring 3 times more, after which the girl began to bend over to the bag and claimed that she thought she would pick it up when the client left. Well, you can still check, but at the same moment he swings his sword and then removes the mercenary. The little girl lifts the blindfold and wonders if that is Maddie's scream and if the role-playing game is over yet. But at that same moment, she is shocked to see a man in a red liquid, and her uncle says that everything is fine because the bad man is no longer there. He says that this girl was bad, and the uncle simply punished the bad person and also simply protected Astrid. He also asked if she didn't understand, after which he also lifted the hood of the mercenary and realized that it was not the same one. The man understood that everything went a little wrong, but in any case, his niece Juliana was now his. There were no surviving witnesses left, and he was planning to put all the mercenaries into eternal sleep after work anyway. So if there was one more of them, nothing would change. If we now hide Astrid away and refer to the fact that Julian has a spy among his middle entourage and do not disclose her location, then the Duke will become his puppet. A little while later, he saw the people who were supposed to take the girl, after which he said, "Okay, now they will go to a safe place. So let her listen to him carefully and follow him. If she takes off the bandage, she will not see her uncle again, so she should not take it off under any circumstances. Otherwise, she will get a scolding." After which, one of their men dragged the girl. When they entered the room, the man told her to stay inside and not make noise. The little girl immediately turned around, but when she wanted to run to the door, she fell. The girl thought that everything was fine, because it was the girl who promised that she would come, and it wasn't Maddie lying there on the ground, so everything would be fine. She did say that if the girl was left alone, she had to count to 100 and then she would definitely come. After which, the little girl started counting, and when she reached 100, then she opened her eyes, and now Knox asks if she's awake. The little girl asks what happened to her sister, and the man tells her not to worry, because even though the girl seems like that, well, if she promised something, she will definitely fulfill it. The little girl understands that she is not worried, because Maddie always keeps her promises, and then she suddenly appeared and saved her. Now the main character also enters the room. Knox happily turns to Maddie, and then tells Astrid that her aunt has arrived. The main character introduces her uncle with a smile on her face, and the little girl immediately runs to him. She also realizes that Maddie is the same superhuman that her uncle sent her. 3 years ago, the Duke was riding in a carriage, but suddenly it stopped, and the man asked what happened and why they stopped. His interlocutor claimed that some woman simply blocked the way, after which she handed the Duke a paper into the carriage. The man wondered if this was the Emperor's messenger, but when he looked at the note, it was written there that the brother should save her child because the child can fall into eternal sleep. Astrid needs his protection, and the child is only 4 years old, and also, the child witnessed the father falling into eternal sleep and no longer speaks. When the Duke raised his gaze, he saw Lavidia. The day the heir to the prince's palace was engulfed in flames, his twin sister disappeared without a trace, and no matter how much he asked his mother about her, he did not receive an answer, and he thought that the girl had fallen into eternal sleep. Therefore, he cannot believe that Lavidia was alive all this time. The man then apologized to Cale, but asked if he could leave them for a while. When the Duke got out of the carriage, he asked if the girl was alive. He also asked why she had not contacted him and when she had gotten married. But the girl only handed him her daughter and then ran away. The man screamed with questions about where she was living now and whether her husband had fallen into eternal sleep and what it all meant, but she didn't stop. After which, the Duke looked at the baby in his arms. A few days later, he finally managed to find out where Lavidia was hiding. Well, she had already fallen into eternal sleep when they arrived, and it looked as if she had been thrown into eternal sleep by the robbers. Of course, no criminal chasing money would break into a dilapidated hut on the outskirts of the slums. When the man saw his sister immersed in eternal sleep, he claimed that this could not be, because the girl appeared after so many years, and now she is leaving him again, and this should not have happened. Lavidia seemed to know that she would fall into eternal sleep, so she left the child and disappeared, fearing persecution. She did not want them to suffer, and the girl hoped to protect her child. The sister was already recognized as immersed in eternal sleep. Therefore, it was not possible to bury her next to her mother and father. At the funeral, he did not see the child's tears. There was never any laughter either, and they had a hard time convincing their sister's child to eat. No doctor could help her. Her father's immersion into eternal sleep had caused too much trauma. It was hard for him to look at the living reminder of Lavidia, because the mother of this tiny creature had fallen into eternal sleep because of him, and he was guilty of falling into eternal sleep for those who were their family. When the man was heading to burnout, and then claimed that they had put Lavidia into eternal sleep instead of him, and if he had gone into eternal sleep, then the aristocrats supporting him would have suspected something was wrong. And this is a warning that he shouldn't stick his neck out, and he should just give up and drop everything. Crockton turned to Julian, a little puzzled. He only said that the child needed to be protected. So let the guy hide the child so that no one comes in, and at least one of his family should survive. After that, he often visited the child, but those eyes always remained indifferent, and he never saw joy in them. It seemed natural for a child who had experienced something terrible at a young age, but who would have thought that he would witness such a radiant smile? Astrid is changing, and he is still the same. For 3 years, he has not changed. At this time, the main character asks the little girl if she has bathed yet, and they have been running around with her for half a day, so she needs to wash herself, otherwise she will grow up dirty. But the Duke tells her to wait because he is going. Maddie says no, and she understands that she looks younger than her peers, but she is already 7 years old, so what is he thinking? And that girl also says, "What kind of aristocrats are these? Because they have no delicacy," and at her 7 years old, she was already quite grown up. So how can an uncle bathe her? Maddie also turns to Astrid and tells her to say something because she won't like it if her uncle goes with her, and it will be awkward. The girl also asks who she wants to swim with, an uninteresting uncle or a sorceress who reads minds. The little girl then hugs the main character, and she says how great it is. Maddie says that her uncle is funny, and even though he loves Astrid very much, he can't wash a 7-year-old girl himself. The man then tells her to wait, because this is not what she thinks. But then, the main character just slams the door, and the man wonders if she really just entered the closet. At this time, Knox asks his brother why he is doing this, because his little sister gets along well with the kids. The Duke asks what kind of brother he is to him, and that's not the point. But then he notices the guy's appearance. Then he asks if they met by chance when ordering. Knox asks at this time if he noticed. The man says that means he was that old woman. But then he tells the guy to wait, because he is the red-haired one who was supposedly in a relationship with Maddie, which means they were not lovers. The young man, at that very moment, grabs his hair and screams whether his brother thought about what he just thought about. He tells him to stop because he is sick from the very thought that someone might mistake him and his sister for a couple. The Duke understands that, judging by his reaction about the contract, he does not know, and so for now, the whole truth is known only to Maddie and him. There is no need to worry too much about their relationship. The guy with red hair says that the Duke smiles at the mere thought of his little sister, and it would be better if the two of them never left the estate. When he thinks that others will be drawn into their love squabbles, he begins to worry about people. The Duke then says that okay, and no matter what Maddie's past is, his feelings will not change. Knox gets goosebumps from this, and the guy claims that the Duke said then that all this doesn't bother him. But is he really afraid to trust her with the girl? When Julian is about to say something, the main character opens the door from the closet, after which he screams in shock that it is a boy. Knox asks in surprise if it is really a boy, and the Duke claims that's why he said he would go himself. Knox says he didn't think his brother was such a strange man, but why dress a boy in a girl's dress and raise him like that? It smacks of perversion. The boy then covers Knox's mouth, and he asks what happened and why he slapped him. The main character claims that he has a habit, because if you say bad words, he hits the person, but she also got it several times. Maddie also whispers that the nanny probably often took it out on him, and the guy asks if that's really true. He also turns to the Duke and says that the child is small and they didn't let him out of the house, so he didn't understand how they were treating him. The main character also asks during the day that the young man's dressing up is to his liking, and the Duke should go to the hospital. The man immediately screams for them to stop because he was so protective of Astrid. If it becomes known that he is a boy, his life will be in danger. Of course, it is best that the existence of the child is not known at all, because if the truth is revealed, then the emperor already has a daughter. He will see the grandson of the former crown prince as a threat, and the girl is unlikely to be drawn into the war for the throne, so he disguised Astrid. The main character at that very moment remembers how someone said that it doesn't matter who they were before. After all, they must forget everything about their previous life, name, and family. For this world, they no longer exist. After all, each of them will become a shadow and dedicate their lives to it. Now the main character looks ahead in shock. The Duke wonders if something has happened and if everything is okay, but when he wants to touch her hand, the lady just pushes him away and tells him not to touch her. The man turns to Maddie, a little surprised, and the girl thinks what is happening and whose memories are these. But at that very moment, she hears some sound, and when she turns around, she sees Astrid. Knox turns her away and asks what they are doing in front of the child. If they are going to quarrel, then let them go outside or retire to another place. The main character then says that they will do so, and also asks her dear one to forgive her because she lost her temper and doesn't know what came over her. The Duke then turns to Maddie and asks if she is okay as she has suddenly turned pale. The girl replies that everything is fine and asks if he was surprised that she hit his hand, and perhaps she was too scared because she suddenly remembered the difference in their position. Julian claims that he didn't mean anything like that, and maybe he said something wrong. However, the girl tells him to be quieter and suggests listening to Knox and also talking somewhere else. As they head further into the secret room, the lady claims that she forgot to tell the Duke that there is one person to whom she is very grateful. The guy asks who, and the girl replies that it was Lady Alma. She is a rich, elderly widow and an eccentric old woman who does not like people and always sits at home. But she allowed them to stay there. The man wonders why she started this conversation and whether she is trying to change the subject. The girl claims that she also lives there and she will introduce them now. The Duke asks if she will introduce them so suddenly, and the lady answers that yes, and she owes her, so she thought it would be worth it. The Duke tells her to listen to her, because if this is the person she is grateful to, then she is important to her. Is he, who is not her real fiancé, allowed to see her? The man also says that they were going to continue the conversation they had started, but she decided to introduce him to someone. He also wonders what she will say in general, and the lady replies that she will tell the truth, that he is the one she is marrying, because you always need to be frank with close people. The girl also tells him to wait there, and she will bring her now. After which, the main character opens the door. The Duke understands that she was just in a strange state, and now she is going to introduce him to her benefactress, and he does not understand what is going on at all. The man also wonders if Maddie is avoiding the conversation. He understands that, of course, he didn't expect that she would open up to him so easily, but if there was a problem, it would be worth sharing, and perhaps he could help. However, for a relationship based on business interests, such frankness is a luxury, and yet she introduces him to a person dear to her. So perhaps he has earned a drop of her trust. After which, the guy realizes that he really doesn't look very good and tries to fix his clothes. The woman at this time comes out of the room and asks if he is really going to marry Maddie. The man asks if she is Lady Alma and claims that he is Duke Ulican Kun Londoness and is honored to meet her. At this time, the woman asks if he is in love, after which the guy is a little surprised. The old woman asks him again if he loves Maddie and wonders why he is so surprised. He starts to stutter, and the woman claims that he said he was getting married, but he can't answer such a question. The guy understands that Maddie manages to calmly declare her love for him every time, as if it were true. So now he claims that he really loves her. The woman then looks at the man with distrust and asks since when. Her interlocutor answers that he fell in love with her at first sight, right away, and she asks where they met. The guy looks away and then claims that he first saw her in the tavern. The lady was playing poker then, and the woman screams, "Did he really fall in love while she was playing poker? And what kind of nonsense is this?" The guy then answers Lady Alma that everything is wrong, and that she doesn't even know how dexterous Maddie's hands are. She won all the money so easily, and it looked very attractive. Hadn't she spent years honing her skills, and her desire not to share money with anyone is incredibly strong-willed, so he admired it. The woman screams that it sounds like she is obsessed with gambling, but her interlocutor understands that the answer is true. The old woman also asks what is so beautiful about Maddie. The Duke replies that she is very sweet, and does not even compare to anyone. The guy also asks if she has seen her wonderful smile. The woman replies that she is all scarred and a real hooligan, so what is good about that? The Duke claims that these features of hers are also beautiful. The scars are traces of Maddie's diligence, and she is not a hooligan, but simply very active, and there is no obsession with games because she loves to compete. Aren't these all Maddie's virtues? The man also says that she can't even imagine how much he misses her, because every day and every moment spent without Maddie is so painful. He wants to be a reliable shoulder for Maddie, who is tired of a hard life, but he is afraid that he is not good enough. After which, the woman tells him to wait, and when she takes off her mask, she says that she understands. The girl also tells her darling that his answers are top-notch, and if anyone hears them, they will think that he prepared specially. The guy, looking at the mask in the lady's hands, is shocked, and claims that she said that she would introduce him to Lady Alma. The girl replies that she introduced them because Lady Alma is her. The guy asks how that is possible, and wonders if the girl has deceived him again. But when he enters the room and looks at the paintings, he asks what kind of place this is. Maddie greets you at Henderson's studio. The guy then repeats the name to himself and wonders if this is the same famous artist. His works still sell at auctions for huge sums of money, and the lady asks if he knows about him. It seems he is really famous among the aristocratic collectors, but the man says that Henderson has long since fallen into a crippled sleep, and he asks if he has ever used this place before. The girl replies that he has never fallen into an eternal sleep because it did not exist. Henderson is a fictional person played by Knox. The man then tells her to wait and asks if Knox is really Henderson, but then he really painted the picture. The girl replies that no, and these paintings are hers, because Knox has no imagination, so he cannot paint what he cannot see. The man then asks why she is engaged in fraud, and also claims that she has a gift. Drawing could well have made her rich, but then he claims that something else is more important, and asks why she suddenly started talking about it. The girl claims that sometimes she plays Lady Alma, and sometimes she becomes Baron de Pongso, after which the girl dresses up as him. She also pretended to be a hunchbacked old woman selling flowers on the street, and was once even a gypsy traveling throughout the empire. The Duke asks what's wrong with Togo, and what does it have to do with her deceiving him. The lady, with a smile on her face, replies that the point is this, that she might not be Maddie but anyone, and she is an artificial deceiver. If he wants, she can make Astrid live a completely different life where no one knows about him. She won't share the details, but a sprite from a person can. And in their age, there is nothing easier than changing one's identity. After which the girl asks if he will trust her. Astrid will be a child of a merchant or aristocrat, so let him just choose the status. They can send him abroad, and the boy will pretend to be a girl until they get rid of the threat. In other words, he can be provided with a quiet life, and Astrid will not be dragged into the squabbles of the imperial family. The man tells her to wait, and he wonders if she really did all this so that he would give her Astrid. The main characters wonder if he would believe simple words and need to demonstrate their skills so that he would easily agree. The guy then realizes that when he first heard about how the girl said that she met his niece, he was confused and angry. But the one he considered his only friend tried to use Astrid as a hostage, so he was sincerely grateful to Maddie for her help. He thought she was just expressing her concern differently, and believed they would be equal partners as long as the contract was in effect. So he was going to tell her about Astrid and the reason he wasn't telling. He wanted to tell her the truth about the boy's parents, but for Maddie, Astrid turned out to be another way to make money. The man understands that everything that happened was a show, and what a fool he was for believing her and worrying. The Duke also asks if she wants to know why this child has lost the gift of speech. Well, the main character asks why she needs it, because the main thing is to get more money. She herself has pretty much figured it out, so he doesn't have to bother telling her. The man only gets angry and asks if she really has no heart at all. They almost lost it, and the girl is already thinking about how to send Astrid far away. The Duke also claims that he will raise him himself, and his nephew will stay. He refuses to hide him in the shadows any longer like a coward. He does not expect the lady to willingly agree to play the role of mother, but let her not think of selling the child or sending him away somewhere. The main character then claps, and the Duke asks what's the matter. The girl claims that it's just great, and that's exactly the answer she expected. In fact, she would also like to live with Astrid. The ladies also offer to give him a high five, but the Duke only looks at her coldly, after which the girl asks if he really can't. The lady claims that the idea is still good, because sending the guy away alone is dangerous, and the boy will be safer with them. The man then asks if the lady was checking him out, and the girl replies that, of course, because it seemed to her that he couldn't make a decision, and she wanted to help him decide. The guy understands that if she had collected more information, she would have known how important Astrid is to him. On the eve of the child's life, she playfully tests him, after which the Duke asks if it ever occurred to her that they could just have a normal conversation. The girl asks what he is talking about. The man claims that she did not ask why he is raising him in secret, and did not ask what she is going to do with him now. Didn't it even occur to her that she could ask a direct question? And did she really have to drive a person into a corner every time? And shoving the table down her throat to extract information. Maddie just smirks and says, "Dear, that a person becomes honest only when a gun is shoved down his throat. That is sincerity." The man then also smirks and claims that she doesn't trust him at all. Maddie asks what's wrong with Togo, because he doesn't believe her either, and that's the surest way.
The guy understands that she always told him that.
And yet he thought that they had become a little closer, and even when the contract expired, he had hope that they will stay close. But no matter what he says, the girl will not be able to understand. He tried to add feelings to a relationship based on a contract. The Duke then asks why she brought him there. And also, why did she lie that she would introduce him to Lady Alma, to whom she was supposedly grateful? She could have chosen a simpler way of checking. Or she wanted to say whether he would keep quiet too much in a conversation with a stranger. Is she really afraid that he will lock her in the dungeon if something goes wrong? After which, the man screams at him that this is great. And since it is so easy to deceive him, she can be sure that she can easily escape at any moment. Even if after all this, he meets her on the street, he will simply pass by and not recognize her, as if nothing had happened. The guy understands that it is his fault, and then suggests to stop. He understands that it was he who could not separate work or personal, and also came up with it himself and got hurt. The Duke says that she is so careful about their agreement that it is encouraging. He also apologizes for causing her trouble with empty worries. The girl tries to tell him something else, but the man says that if the conversation is over, he will go upstairs because he needs to rest. At this time, the lady again begins to see memories, after which, completely unconsciously, she grabs him by the clothes. The man turns around and asks what happened, but when the girl doesn't answer, he says that, if she has nothing to say. However, the girl turns to Julian, after which everyone calls him his Duke, and also says that she did not arrange all this with such an intention. The man says that of course, and for sure there was another meaning, so let her do as she sees fit, and he will silently follow her plan. But at that very moment, the lady pulls him towards herself, and the man asks what she is doing. Maddie tells Julian not to make that face and leave. She just wanted to show that this is all she can do well, and that it is easy for her to deceive others. As he said, if she wants, she can completely change her face and voice, and if she tells everyone about it now, then. But the Duke thinks he's had enough and can't give in to Maddie. He then pulls his hand away. And he asks, what now? And also whether it was fun to lead him astray every time. He knows how brilliantly she deceives people, and the girl is great. And now that they have cleared everything up, he suggests ending the conversation. But at that very moment, the girl pulls him towards her. The man asks what she is doing and says that the clothes will tear, after which he tells her to let him go. But the girl only says that if she shows him her abilities, he will always believe that she is alive no matter what happens, and will think that the passerby is her, and will also continue to look for her. He won't forget. He won't abandon her. He won't make an empty promise and then disappear, and won't console her by saying that she can handle it herself. The Duke then asks if the girl is okay, and offers to look at him. He also wonders what the lady is saying and whether this is another deception, after which he even asks if the lady recognizes him, and the girl only apologizes to him. The guy understands that she seems to be begging him not to give up on her. People look at him with this desperate and heavy look, after which the Duke hugs her and says that it is good, so let her not cry. He also understands that in front of him now is an unfamiliar Maddie whom he has never seen before. The girl at this time closes her eyes, after which everyone faints. Julian turns to her a little surprised, after which he sits down with her. He asks if she said not to forget, but the girl herself said that she would disappear when this matter was over. And does she really want him to think about her looking at every passerby and wondering if it was she who just passed by? So that he would spend the rest of his life looking for her and waiting for them to meet again. After which the Duke thinks what to do, because he will never be able to forget about her and will never become the same as he was before meeting her. A little while later, the girl opens her eyes, and when she looks away, then he sees the Duke. The lady immediately gets up from the bed and says that she just opened her eyes, and there are her breasts and abs. The man screams in shock, asking if he really got her confused, and the lady looks around and asks when they went upstairs and where Knox is now. The Duke replies that Knox and Astrid are now in the next room, and as soon as he saw them, he was overcome with emotion. The guy, at that moment, closed Astrid's eyes and said how disgusting it was. He was wondering why they were taking so long. The guy also claimed that the child was upstairs and asked what they had done there. Knox said that he was disappointed with the vibrations and that it was just awful. The Duke claimed that he had misunderstood and that everything was wrong, after which he even cried out that it was a misunderstanding. However, now he wonders if the girl is again pretending that she doesn't remember anything. Maybe she will explain what her true feelings are, and the main character wonders if she has lost consciousness. He replies that she asked her not to forget and said that he should remember even if she disappears. And now, he repeated her words. When he looks at the lady, he thinks, does she really not remember? And what is true and what is a lie? The main character claims that she does not know what he is talking about. Well, whatever she said there, it was just sleepy nonsense. Maybe she was trying to explain that he would have to act like a board for his ex-wife. They are not married yet, but they will be soon, and he himself understands. Julian claims that he is confident in his ability to play melancholy, and no one agrees on anything, so they can check if she wants. He addresses her as Lady Alma and asks her to tell him where Maddie has gone. He is no longer confident that he can love anyone else, and has not yet had time to tell her what she means to him. He asks to tell where Maddie is, and he prays only for a chance to convey his feelings to her. Believe me, she promised that she would not fall into eternal sleep, which means that the lady must be alive. The girl just turns away and claims that perhaps she pretended to be immersed in eternal sleep and ran away very far away. And all because he was too intrusive. So let him look for another. The Duke, with a smile on his face, says that then he will try to fight for her again because he knows how to get his way. The lady then says that yes, and he plays well, and she also understood, so that's enough. Maddie also says that he is a handsome man and even got naked to seduce her, and she almost got caught. The man also thinks that maybe Maddie is also a little partial to their relationship. She just doesn't realize it herself. But he is also good. He has been deceived so many times, although it was high time to come to his senses. The man also wonders why he is always trying to get false hopes, after which he asks if Knox has any drinks, to which the girl replies that of course, but asks what it is. After which the Duke invites her to sit together. A little while later, the lady is already dragging the Duke on her back and screaming whether he got drunk too quickly. He himself offered to drink, but does he really not know how to drink? The man replies that it is not he who is weak to alcohol, and recalls how the lady claimed that if you drink from the bottle, it will seem that you have drunk more. Julian claims that any person quickly gets drunk from such strong drinks, and he asks how Maddie holds up. The girl replies that it was only half a bottle of rum, but it doesn't get you drunk even from 3. Her interlocutor claims that it's great, and it doesn't get you drunk even from strong drinks, and she really doesn't look like a human at all. The guy asks how she can carry such a big guy on her back. He also asks if he is heavy, and asks why she doesn't even smell afterward. The girl replies that she doesn't sweat, and her interlocutor asks why she is touching his thigh, and why squeeze like that, because they are in public. The girl screams for him to stop twitching, and wonders if he really wants to fall. Maddie also asks how she can carry him if she can't touch him. Then the girl sees a cart, and then he throws the guy at her and claims that usually, if her drinking buddy gets drunk, she just dumps him and leaves. But she will take care of the Duke, so let him be a specialist. Calm down, because they will soon be home.